Oh, shoot. Can you guys hear me? Did I actually... Is my microphone on? Oh, God. Oh, no. Okay. Okay. Ah! Nobody can see me. I can see me. There we go. We're on. We're there. I keep forgetting when I have studio mode on that I have to forward it to the right place. And that's an echo I don't need. Hi, guys. Tech Ghost came to my work today. Oh, no. Not the Tech Ghost. Sorry about the ads. Apologies. Yeah, as I was typing, that always happens about the technical difficulties, Rex. I was like, Rex is gonna be like, that's typical. And then I saw you go, the usual. And it's like, yeah, unfortunately, we're kind of known for that here. Sorry about that. Hi, guys. How is everybody? I am... Hi, Avery. Fuck you, Dawn. It's so nice to see you, Avery. Patrick, I went on and, with the extra 20 minutes I had today, instead of, like, I don't know, meditating or doing something that I probably should have been doing, I quickly made up a design that is reminiscent somewhat of the We Heart Kids Club, but it says We Hate Dawn Club. And I put that up on the website, on the merch store, in several different things, so I was very proud of myself for that. Hair looks nice, thank you. I just started washing it with a new shampoo, and I'm hoping that it's going to be better for my hair. My hair is very curly, but I don't know how to take care of it for it to be, like, truly curly, so I've been switching, like, serums and things and trying to, like, give it its weight, and then also, because of PCOS, there's been a lot of weird... PCOS can do weird things with, like, making your hair finer than it should be, and so, like, sometimes I'm, like, you can see that my crown is, like, a little bit... The hair up here is finer than, like, the rest of my hair, so I've been trying to combat that, so... Thank you, though. I'm behind. Why do you hate Dawn? So Dawn is just... In every single book, Dawn is just, like, really judgy and bullying of her friends. And it was especially bad in the last one that we read. We read Sunny Diary 1, or 2, and Sunny Diary 2, Sunny's, like, going through all this stuff, and then Dawn's just, like, straight up being awful to her for no reason, and so we're like, we hate Dawn. Sorry. If you don't hate Dawn, it's no offense, it's kind of an in-joke at this point. I think my message on Discord about this is actually the first part of the storyline that finishes out in the Mary Ann and the playground fights. Oh no, I saw that your message came through, but I was literally trying to go live, and so I was like, I will check it later. So wait, where does that put... Shoot, I need to grab the book out. Where does that put Welcome Home, or no? Where does that put the BSC Forever book in the timeline in relation to like, where it should be with the other California Diaries book? I'll be right back. I'm gonna go grab the book. If you heard a commotion, that was me. I've been moving books around because I got some new bookshelves to add, not to replace, just to add to have more book space. And I've been moving around books, and so this was not where I thought it was. It was under Model Land and behind where I have the Once Upon a Time Family Tree corkboard propped up. And so I'm trying to pull everything out, and the Once Upon a Time Family Tree goes flying down, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna have to redo all of that, and somehow it stayed intact. But anyway. Oh, that's amazing, Laser. If you don't mind my asking, what do you like? What cause do you volunteer for? I've worked since I was 16. I started working in hunger relief volunteering, and I've done some other things. You know, I volunteer at my foster, at my animal shelter. We foster. I think volunteering is wonderful. Tornado warning here in Texas. We have really bad storms coming through, so if I just get my power knocked out, then that's, you guys know why. Figuring out how to do my hair, and then it thinned out a lot from HR. Yeah, HRT. Yeah, I'm still figuring out the whole hair thing. It's you can see it's getting some of its volume back. But it's a work in progress. TBSC fans hating Dawn for years, so that makes sense. Well, and also I think it was Milo talking about sorry for leaving you on chair stream, Natty. I had to pull the book out from under like Model Land and a bunch of other books. I think it was Milo bringing up the fact that Dawn, hello Fumiko, Dawn wasn't really supposed to be a main character. It was only, the BSC was supposed to be a 4-book series, and Dawn comes in at the end of the last one, which I haven't read those first 4 books, at least not in a very long time, if I ever have. So apparently Dawn was just supposed to be like, hey, this is Marianne's friend, and it proves that she can make friends outside of, you know, the BSC. And then they said, you know, Apple Books said, can we have 100 more of those books, please, and a bunch of spin-offs. And so Dawn became a central character. So it's I guess Anne M. Martin also is not a huge fan of Dawn, which kind of makes sense in the way that she writes Dawn. And also, Dawn, I think, officially has the shortest book in the California Diaries, and I think it's this one. This is only like a 95-page book, according to Goodreads. Finally be able to buy the Perry calendar. Oh, thank you. What time did you want to start tomorrow? If you can do 7 your time, I think that would work. If not, you know, if that works for you, then that was what I was planning for. I like the first 4 books, especially 3 and 2 is one of the funnier BSC books. Interesting. I need to read. I have a bunch of them, mostly courtesy of Patrick, who sends them to me. I have found some. I have found a stack in my local Goodwill. But yeah, I've been just kind of collecting them as we've been reading them on the stream, and I think I wasn't too into them the first time around because I thought they were too girly, and I went through this like phase of being like a tomboy and thinking like girl stuff is lame. The author gratefully acknowledges Janine Betancourt for her help in preparing this manuscript. I believe that's Anne M. Martin's way of saying this was partially the work a ghostwriter, because she's classy like that. 7 your time, 4 my time, or 7 my time. 7 my time is what I was hoping for. I can message you, sorry. And my brand new laptop broke, so I'm on my old one. Oh no, I hate that. Sorry. Oh wait, Patrick is... I'm going up to see Patrick's explanation. Hang on. The playground fight is right after Dawn Diary 2. Friends Forever is after the whole California Diaries. Interesting. Okay. That's good to know. All the C books after a certain point were ghostwritten. I mean, that makes sense because there's literally hundreds of them, right? It's the same thing with like most books. I would imagine most books after a certain point get ghostwritten, just to keep up with demand. Just wanted some clarification. I thought I heard 7 your time. Yeah, seven my time. 7 my time. Sorry, I should have messaged you. I don't. Yeah, I'm bad with getting my shit together. So apologies, guys. Going to the Apple Store soon. Apparently, DC. In DC it is. I've never been to DC. TBSC characters are tomboys themselves. It's true. It's very true. But I think it's just the marketing, and obviously, like, it's silly because, like, as an adult woman now, I'm re-experiencing or sometimes experiencing pretty much for the first time things that I thought were too girly the first time around, and it's a really weird experience to be like, oh, I get to like this now. Oh, do you have a weird story to tell Avery? Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Tell us. This dude kind of like my friend, but he couldn't take a hint when we would see him around. The been while I was turned up Sweet Valley High as a kid. I have one Sweet Valley High book. I've never read any of them. Watching the stream from no windows. I'm sorry. Please stay safe. I hope you're okay. There's a small chance that I will have to jump off because of severe weather, but hopefully we'll be done by that point. Club meeting, and I saw him walking in and he stopped to talk to me. I was like, hey, I gotta go. The audacity to interrupt the meeting. Oh no. Oh boy. Hi, Chris. Wait, I missed something. Sorry, Chris. Hi, Jaundice. Welcome back. Hello, everybody returning. Sirens haven't gone off again, which is nice. I hope you guys are all okay. Texas. I hope everybody's okay in Texas and everywhere that's being hit. The door was closed. Oh my god. I have lost the first of Chris's messages. I'm so sorry. Oh my god, that's so scary. What? I'm so sorry, Natty. I was gonna make myself a hot tea, and then I got sidetracked, and so now we're drinking the cold green tea, and I also have a backup peach seltzer water. Or is it peach or is it orange? It's peach. I can never remember. I was there and she was so scared. That's so scary. I'm so sorry. I'm looking there. Go to ER, so it's 2 positives. That's good, Chris. I'm glad to hear that. Finally gotten. That's good. I'm glad. No ER is always a good thing. So if you haven't noticed, the top-down camera isn't exactly cooperating because my new USB-C hub is not in yet. But I don't think it's going to be a big deal because we usually go to kitten stream pretty early on in these books, so I don't know how much we're going to use the top-down stream. I will try to get it working for a couple more times, and if I cannot, then I cannot. Hey, everybody coming in. It's one of those books. Yeah, it's not. So it's a Dawn book, right? And Dawn has, as far as personal problems go, the least amount of personal problems out of all of them. Not to invalidate her problems, but all of the other kids have like really serious problems that can be very triggering. And Dawn is just like, my stepmother is not my real mom. It's just like, okay. Yeah, I think we're I invalidate some of Dawn's problems. I invalidate some of Dawn's problems. It's supposed to be done 7:45 after the storms. I hope it's over soon. That should be soon for you guys. I saw something about cuff jeans. What's happening? Cuff jeans. I like cuff jeans. I am a short girl. I'm 4'11". Cuff jeans have been my friend. I think they're cute, and I think they're practical because they will never, ever drag on the ground, which all of my other jeans do. So. Have you read the BSC book where she flies across the country because she's mad about them getting engaged? No, I have not read that one. Cuff jeans good. Dawn dish soap. Hi, tar-filled owl. Remove children from hall closet. Oh, I'm so sorry. I love them, but I'm 6'3", so yeah, I couldn't be me. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna turn studio mode off for a second. Yeah, people sometimes get a little bit surprised when they realize I'm 4'11", because I spend most time sitting behind this desk. So what you can't see in ratio, unless I have other people like Gabe with me in here, who's actually tall. He's like 6'2", 6'3". I'm 4'11". Yep. Yeah. Yeah. What you can't see is that this is a relatively small chair. It just looks normal when I sit in it. And my legs are both curled up under the desk, not touching the ground, just crossed in front of me. Crisscross applesauce. Maybe we could probably get a teddy bear bigger than Avery. Oh my god, probably. There are teddy bears that are bigger than me. Same as Simone Biles. Yes. I was very, very keen to follow Simone Biles because I was like, short girls for the win. I remember that her first Olympics, I was very, very like, represent for us. I have a 5'2" bear. Yep. So Fumiko has a bear that's taller than me. I 4'8". Okay, yeah, she that does make sense. Because everybody's always like, is she 4'8"? I guess she is 4'8". Anyway, short girls for the win. I use it as a chair. Nice. It's literally bigger than me. Yeah, stay safe, Texas. Stay safe. That goes to our friend Texas and all of Texas and everybody else in the way. We're leaving all the crap I pulled out of it out, and the couch cushions are staying in the hall closet. That is, keep it. Just in case there's another, hopefully that's the last of the bad weather, but we would always like leave all of our stuff in there just in case they were like, all right, actually take cover again. And we're just like, okay, do that. I'd have a giant pink Cthulhu bigger than you. I love that. That is amazing. Yeah, most things are bigger than me. I'm in the 2nd to 4th percentile. I think 4th percentile, always growing up, I was 4th percentile, I think, for weight and 2nd for height, or vice versa. I was always like very, very, they're like, so you're smaller than 96% to 98% of the other girls your age. I'm like, yeah, that fits. Before we turned in TV and computer off, that there has been touchdowns, can't remember where. Okay, what I'm thinking about. Like Beanie Babies? Like Build-A-Bear. Ooh. I very nearly went to Build-A-Bear for my birthday this year, and then I didn't because they were like, you're gonna get snow, nobody should drive, and then that didn't happen. But yeah. I also don't think... I more need the top-down cameras to segue quickly back to this book. We usually need the top-down cameras more so for... Oh, this has an old-fashioned library card in the back. That's always interesting. This was due back February of 2008. They apparently did not take it back on time. Probably was just a out of cycle book. To go back to this, I really only need the top-down camera for Sunny's diaries and occasionally, usually Amalia's diaries because she's the one who's the artist. Dawn doesn't look like she has any drawings or anything, so this is just straight up a written notebook. So I think we're good if the top-down camera has a night off. It's actually pink, white, and lilac pattern, baby blanket yarn. My mom made it. That's amazing. If you want to put that on the care of magical creatures in the greenhouse, whatever that part is. Hi, Milo. We haven't started reading yet. You want to put that there. I would love to see the pink, lilac, and white Cthulhu. Hey, little Jason Handsome. Hello. How are you? I'm good. Hi, Ellery. Oh, 19 swatch. I'm sorry, Kevin. I'm probably reading that completely wrong. Sushi for dinner, and I'm very pleased with it. Yay! Physically, mentally, emotionally, right? It's like physically, I'm not as good as emotionally, but emotionally, I'm doing all right. Well, dark rose, I know it's difficult from what you read on stream. The deep and dark blue. It's a wonderful graphic novel that needs more exposure. I will look into it. I will definitely look into it. I love the obscure. We love the old, but we also love the obscure. Well, I'll call you Jason if that's all right with you, Jason Handsome. Said good morning, but then I realized how blatantly wrong of a statement that would be. I know that feeling. I know that feeling well. Physically, I'm okay. My knees hurt, but otherwise, I'm sorry your knees hurt. Call me Jason. Yeah, I thought that's what you were saying you'd prefer. Yeah. Good to know. I want to make sure that I call everybody the right thing if I can. All right. Well, we have 17 people with us right now, so thank you guys. I see some new people in chat. We are reading Dawn, California Diaries 7. This is Dawn Diary 2. If you've never read this series before, that's probably a very confusing statement. But basically, there's 15 books. There's 5 main characters, and each main character has 3 diaries, and it cycles through. So you get it was Dawn, Sunny, Maggie, Amalia, Ducky. And then the only deviation is in the second cycle. Number 6 is Sunny's, number 7 is Dawn's. And yeah, that's it. So this is Dawn's second contribution to the series, but it is the 7th book in the series overall. This is a California Diaries spinoff. Just to give any people who like Dawn from Babysitter's Club. Did I say California Diaries spinoff? It is a California Diaries spinoff. It is a Babysitter's Club spinoff. To give any fans of Dawn a heads up, we do not like Dawn. You'll see why. We have reason to not like Dawn, but just so that you're aware, there will be Dawn slander. I'm sorry about that. We don't like her here. Her birthday is in 27 days. Well, happy early birthday. She has no sense of time when she's focused, and I get it from her. I'm missing things. Reasons. I think my mom has ADHD. She's been crocheting since she got home. She told me she'll give me the aspirin when she gets caught up. My stepdad had to remind her it's been hours since she started. Oh my gosh. Yeah, time blindness is real, especially for us ADHDers. Boo, Dawn. That's like my dad. I'm sure that my dad is ADHD because me and my brother both are. My brother's undiagnosed, but I'm surely he is. and it's hereditary, and my dad surely has it. He's got the time blindness, and we're all just like, yep, we feel that. 22 years old and nice. Well, happy early birthday. Obligatory reminder to any minors in chat, especially. If you're a minor, don't share your personal info. We're adults. We can make bad decisions. Just kidding. No, we can choose to share our personal info, but I try to discourage especially minors from like that time that it was like, I'm 11, and I was like, oh boy. But that's amazing. Happy early birthday. Crochets all the time because of her ADHD. Yeah, I love to sew because it's a repetitive thing, you know? Which is how I got the Cthulhu. That's amazing. But yes, welcome all new people. Glad you're here. Need a break, choose Dawn, Daniel says. Everybody shout out to Daniel, the person who's suffering through Animorphs with me. So if you're new here, we do that too. 10-year-old won't leave the Oh, I used to be so freaked out with tornadoes. We as adults can make choices about what we share because we understand what the risks are, but minors should be careful. That's a wonderful way. Our wonderful Knight of the Bot Table, aka one of our mods, Ellery, said it beautifully. I made all the bad decisions, so don't do what I do. Our other wonderful mod, Derp Rex, also coming in with a different but also good perspective. No, I just like to give that warning because we are on the internet, so want to make sure that all the kiddos are safe. Support her no matter what, and love is love. And the dog drank my tea. My dog ate my pizza the other night, and I was very mad about it. I love rolling in the suffering. We're all suffering. All right, let's read the backs of these. But yes, happy early birthday to Jason and anybody else who's about to have a birthday or just had a birthday. The backs of these don't really have summaries like most books. They just have little confusing snippets. I hate being so angry at Sunny. I hate it, but really, it's all her fault. That is this is gonna be... Make a game. Let's make a game out of every time we're like, Dawn, oh my god. You can make it a drinking game if you like. I like to do my drinking game with hydrating things, not alcohol, because you might be dead if you take a drink of alcohol every time. I'm just like, oh my god, Dawn. Soul, hey, how are you? I'm good. Still recording. My edit is vile. I'm having to do one take, which means much restarting. Oh, but nearly there. Maybe this weekend. Proud of you. Good luck. Where did my top for my drink just went somewhere? Chihiro Fu, I hope I'm saying that right. Welcome. Glad to have you here. I need 3 water bottles. Yep. Who's ready for more bad red-tailed hawk impersonation? Oh god. Scream! I had a lot of fun impersonating the red-tailed hawk. I'm gonna try to put a sound on the soundboard. Inspiration from this channel. Thank you. That means a lot to me. Definitely share that video with us when it's out. Have you seen the new Haunted Mansion trailer? I have not, but I'm excited. Chihiro Fu. Okay. They'll say we need to add the hawk screech to the soundboard. I will. I mean, every movie and TV show used the exact same red tail screech, and for Bird of Prey ever. Yep. At least for wordplay jokes. We have 19 people in chat with us tonight. We have 20 people in chat with us tonight. Thank you guys all for being here. I appreciate you immensely. I love sounding like a red-tailed hawk with laryngitis. In the morning, looking at some things my synagogue's board did resulted in my dad leaving his Sunday school position after. Oh, I'm sorry, Adrielle. Epic stuff is fair game if you are A Star Kid fan. Are you a Star Kid fan by chance? I have never... I don't think I ever finished Star Kid. I have it. We can read it. If you're talking about the Star Kid novel, the blue one with the yellow star. Or wait, no, that's Stargirl. What am I thinking of? Star Kid. Star Kid is a different thing. I don't know that Star Kid. I'm thinking of a different thing. It was in the tree. Nice. In the group who does musicals on YouTube. I do not know. It hit me that I was talking about the wrong thing. I was thinking Stargirl, even though I heard Star Kid. No, I don't know much about them. I would love to hear about them from fans. Friend was cool last night. Friend. Wait. Who was the last person I had on? Gabe on Sunday. React to Hatchet Field and maybe Twisted. LOL. I will. Oh, Maddie. Oh, wait. What day are we on? Where are we in the week? Yes, Maddie's great. We love Maddie. She is wonderful. Sorry. I forgot. Thursday. I was like, wait, yeah, Maddie was the last person we had on stream. Anyway. Thursday, I think. You know when you're just like, where are we? What is the week? I have to leave 10-year-old. I'm day in front of you. Okay. Cool. Yes, thank you. I will let Maddie know. She is always happy to know that people appreciate her. If you guys haven't seen the short that I cut from when we were trying to wish Sean a happy birthday and Maddie had to make it depressing, that's there. And I thought that was very funny. So the alarm goes off for work on Sunday. It's so sad, but like I used to literally only know what day it was when I was working out of the house because I would literally be doing work like on all different sets, and I'd be like, well, I'm over here on Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday. So I like know where I was in the week from that. Ever since I started working from home, ever since quarantine, forget about it. Maddie will be Maddie. Yes, we must. Sorry for digressions. It's to stall the sadness. What is time? I was sure it was Thursday until you asked. I'm so sorry. Okay, so let's just start this. Oh, Saturday morning, 6/6. Journals are for talking about your feelings. That's what I am feeling. Lonely, tense, sad. Or here's what I'm feeling. Lonely, tense, sad. I look at what I've just written and I am amazed. None of it sounds like me. I used to be an upbeat kind of person. I tried not to show my negative feelings to the rest of the world. But I can't deny that I feel them. This is me, Dawn Schafer, right now. Lonely, tense, sad. I know I am upset. Sunny, my very best friend in the whole world, has turned into an entirely different person. Make that my former best friend. The only other time I have felt this terrible was when Mom and Dad were first divorced, and I had to leave California to live on the other side of the country with Mom. I hated leaving Sunny, and I missed her the whole time I lived on the East Coast. Sunny was one of the main reasons I moved back to California when her mother was diagnosed with lung cancer. I thought Sunny would need her best friend. I thought Sunny would need her best friend close by. I'm glad I'm here for Mrs. Winslow, but I was totally wrong about what Sunny needed. It's so ironic. I moved back to be close to Sunny, and we aren't even speaking to each other. Maybe Sunny and I were only best friends because we were neighbors. No, that doesn't make sense. We used to do absolutely everything together. We could finish each other's sentences. The phone would ring, and I would know it was Sunny before I picked up the receiver. I could walk into her house anytime and feel like a member of the family. Sunny could do that at our house too, even after Dad remarried and Carol moved in with us. Another irony. Sunny gets along better with Carol than I do. Yeah, because you hate Carol. I hate that Sunny isn't acting like Sunny anymore. She's changed from this clever, considerate, Always there for you, friend, into a sneaky, inconsiderate, never to be trusted again stranger. Sunny is the last person I would have expected to change like that, especially now, when her family is going through such a hard time. I mean, we all have to face it. Mrs. Winslow is, well, they don't have much hope anymore that she will ever get better. Just writing that made me cry. Mrs. Winslow is wonderful. Like a second mother to me. I'm a lot closer to her than I'll ever be to Carol. What I don't understand is why Sunny is turning into some other person just when her mother and father need her the most. It's like she doesn't care about anyone but herself. She skips school, hangs out with older guys, is dressing in a different way that's very adult. It's like she doesn't care what people think about her. But what bothers me the most is that Sunny is not there for her mother. To be clear, for those who weren't there, Sunny absolutely is there for her mother, but she's going through a lot. She's 13, her mom is dying, and her dad is horrible, basically abusive. She has to work without getting paid at the store, which he owns, and she's miserable. Instead of visiting her mother in the hospital, she's been over at our place an awful lot, taking care of Carol because she's having a baby. She saved Carol's life. Again, sorry. I'll save my opinions for the break. I also feel sorry for Carol. The doctor ordered her to stay in bed for the last 3 months of her pregnancy. She can't even get up to go to the bathroom. We have to bring her a bedpan. I know it's hard on Carol, but it's also a lot of extra work for Dad and me. Even Jeff is pitching in, but we didn't expect Sunny to help out, especially not when it meant neglecting her own sick mother. If my mother were sick, I would be with her as much as possible, but I don't want to think about that possibility. It's too awful. An ambulance just drove up our street and pulled into the Winslow's driveway. Uh-oh. Mrs. Winslow has been getting sicker every day. Are we already going to kitten cam? It's not a 13-year-old child's responsibility to care for her terminally ill parent. Yes, that. Milo is correct. Are we already going code level kitten? For those of you who are new, when things get sad, we go code level kitten. I know I'm missing a lot in chat. I'll circle back. She's either going back to the hospital or I want to run over there to find out what's going on. I want to help, but how can I when Sunny and I aren't even talking? Then go over there. It's a life or death situation. We're not talking anymore, so I can't even see what's happening with my lifelong second mother of mine. But how can I when Sunny and I aren't even talking? I'm so worried about Mrs. Winslow. Carol just rang the little bell she uses to say she needs something later. All right. Heck her. Frick Dawn, I don't like her. No one does. I'm sure some people do. We don't here. Potato chips, damn. Wait, what about potato chips? Code kitten yesterday. I feel given. Dawn is narrating about Sunny. Yep. Mm-hmm. Let me figure that one out. Studio mode. I say figure out. It's not exactly a thing that needs to be figured out. I just need to turn the display capture on. Let's go code level kitten. Let's do it. Look at us live right now. Kitten cam. Let's see which kitten cams. I love Perry and her babies, but the camera is so far away from them. I feel like I can never see them the way that it's set up. Let's see. Oh! Oh, there's music. Music, but there's kittens. I see kittens. Transition. We're going code level kitten emergency kittens. We're commencing the emergency kittens. Look at how cute they are. Everybody come for the trauma, stay for the kittens. Sharon could drop dead and Dawn would not know any difference. She barely mentions or speaks to her in these books. She doesn't even mention Marianne, who's like, or wait. Yeah, Marianne, who's her stepsister, right? No offense, I just don't curse. Very fair. Mother is dying, Dawn, and your only life problem is that you're a bitch. She's never satisfied with anything, right? Dawn's over here like, oh my god, my stepmother is just always wanting to have a relationship with me. And meanwhile, Sunny's over here just like, my mom is dying. Can we not act like we're the same? There's been ordered. Thank you, Toonimations. I so appreciate that. The stream count went down when I started reading about Dawn. It came back up when we went to Kittens, so Kittens good, Dawn bad. Look at the little Disney toys they have. And also my cats have this exact, oh, you guys can't see my mouse. We have this exact little tower for our cats. She's very fickle. Clicked on another video instead of the stream. She did not ask you to do that, right? She's complaining about how much work they have to do and complaining about Sunny helping. I don't understand Dawn. Dawn makes me upset and kind of want to not think about her and her issues. Sorry, former best friend. It's like in the reality court TV where it's like so-and-so is suing their former friend so-and-so. It's like, yeah, well, I assume they're not friends anymore if they're suing each other. What sadness. I'm ready to get pissed. Yes, I added a bunch of stuff to the merch site that says, it looks like the We Heart Kids Club thing, but it says We Hate Dawn Club, and I was very proud of that. We have to read about Dawn having no situational awareness. Unfortunately, we do, I think. Mood. Is an illusion. All right. She's such a good, selfless person. I know, she's literally like showing up Sunny at the hospital with her own mother being sick. So self-absorbed, she doesn't even realize she is self-absorbed. Yeah. It's like that scene from SpongeBob when the audience would clap when they see SpongeBob and go quiet when they see Squidward. Yes. Dinner. Interest anymore, which includes me. Oh, I'm sorry, Texas. My cat is laying on me. Oh, kittens. Good, Dawn bad is very much the vibe of stream. Does that need to be a t-shirt? Kittens good, Dawn bad. Dawn's a vegetarian. She can't be flawed. There are a lot of great vegetarians. Vegetarianism is very admirable. Dawn is not. All right. Saturday morning continued. 6/6. Mrs. Winslow has gone back to the hospital. Carol and I saw them take her out on a stretcher. Mr. Winslow was walking beside his wife. He didn't go in the ambulance, but followed it in his car. Then he looked really sad. He had been so happy that his wife was home again. We all were. We hoped she'd be able to stay this time. At first, I thought Sunny wasn't home, and that's why she wasn't with her mother. But then I spotted her peeking out from behind the blinds in the living room. I told Carol that if it were my mother, I'd be in the ambulance with her. Carol said that might not be what Mrs. Winslow wanted. Also, they've had to do this a million times. That's so emotionally draining on a 13-year-old. Why wouldn't she, I asked. Sunny is her daughter. Maybe she's going later. Carol patted her big belly. I can't help remembering that my baby and I were almost taken away in an ambulance. Thanks to Sunny, I pointed out. Accidents happen, said Carol. No, thanks to the babysitter and the dad who was just like, yeah, leave the 13-year-old alone with the stove on. And Dawn, who left Sunny there. She has been standing up for Sunny a lot lately. What almost happened to Carol and the baby wasn't an accident. It literally was an accident. It was Sunny's fault, plain and simple. I know it was almost 2 months ago, but I can't stop thinking about it. Sunny promised she'd watch out for Carol, who was not supposed to get out of bed under any circumstances. Sunny promised Mrs. Bruin that she'd keep an eye on the pot of stew that was cooking on the stove. And what did Sunny do when a cute guy came driving up our block? Blowing his horn, she ran out of the house, leaving the stew on the stove and Carol helpless in bed. So what happened? My former best friend, Sunshine Winslow, almost burned our house down and put the lives of 2 people in grave danger. And what did Sunny do about it? Did she apologize? She literally did. She act like she cared? No, she ran away. And when she finally came back, she had an attitude and made all sorts of excuses for herself. She just hung around waiting for everyone to say it was okay. Well, it wasn't okay. It isn't okay. We don't need someone like that around here. I can't stop thinking about the fight Sunny and I had that night. I play it over and over in my head like a movie. I came home from shopping. The house smelled smoky. Mrs. Bruin told me what had happened and that Sunny had run off to Mrs. Bruin, who is usually had run out. Mrs. Bruin, who is usually so sweet, tempered, and understanding, was furious with Sunny. Everybody was. I figured Sunny wouldn't come back, and she certainly wouldn't continue sleeping over at our house in my room. So I took some plastic garbage bags to my room and put all of Sunny's stuff in them and folded up her cot. Then I sat down at my desk to do my homework. After a while, I thought I heard Sunny's voice in the house. At first, I ignored it. Then I started worrying about Carol. I didn't want Sunny to upset her, so I went to Dad and Carol's room. I couldn't believe what I saw. Dad, Carol, and Mrs. Bruin were sitting around with Sunny having a friendly talk. I turned and went back to my room without saying anything. Nobody seemed to notice. It was Sunny crying and apologizing because she was a child left with too much responsibility, and the adults kind of blaming her still. Nobody seemed to notice. I figured they were all forgiving Sunny, and then she'd leave. About an hour later, I heard a gentle tap on my door. I thought it was Dad saying goodnight, but Sunny walked in. "Hi," she said, like nothing had happened. "You're still here?" I said. "You're staying?" "Yeah, Carol and your dad want me to." She put her hands on her hips. "What'd you do with all my stuff?" "I figured you were going to do what you're always doing these days," I told her. "And what's that? Run away." I reminded her that she's been running away a lot lately, ducking out, avoiding anything unpleasant. I tried to help her face the fact that she's letting down her mother. I tried to help her face. She screamed at her father, her friends, and herself. But did that get me anywhere with her? We ended up yelling at each other. She had the nerve to accuse me of not caring about my stepmother, who she hates. Who is she to talk to me about how to take care of a parent? Interesting argument for somebody telling her how to take care of a parent. I reminded her that I visit her mother more than she does. Her answer to that: "I visit her more than you know." "I know all the times you visit her," I replied, "because you complain about every last one." Then Sunny said, "At least I had a mom, that I had two of them." I reminded her that she has a mother too. Maybe it's time for her to appreciate the mother she has, who is terminally ill. Sunny didn't say anything for a few seconds. I hoped she was finally seeing how terrible she'd been acting lately. I can't read it with a straight. I can't read it not ironically. It's so stupid. I hoped we could start from there and make up. Instead, she turned and ran out of my room and the house. Yes, Sunny running away again. I couldn't sleep that night. I wanted to talk over what happened between Sunny and me. I still wanted to help her. I called her house the next day and left a message on the answering machine. Around dinner time, I saw her go into her house, but she didn't call me. I kept thinking, her mother is very sick. I don't know how awful Sunny must feel. She needs her friends. I should be patient. Chat just started going really fast and then stopped, and I was like, oh, we broke it. Should be patient, understanding, and forgiving. I left her another message. "Sunny, it's Dawn. Please call me." She didn't. I told Maggie about what happened, but she acted like it was just one of those fights friends get into. "It'll pass," she said. "Maggie, please tell her I won't talk to her," I pleaded. "I want to talk to her," I pleaded. I still can't believe what Sunny said when Maggie told her I wanted to talk. If Dawn wants to be friends, all it takes is an apology, a large diamond necklace, and a new navel ring, and 3 years of personal servitude. Like it's a big joke. Ha ha. 7 years of friendship ending in a lame joke. Meanwhile, I just heard loud punk music from a car radio outside. I could see an old yellow convertible driving up our block. I think I recognize the guy who's driving and the couple in the back seat. They're upperclassmen from Vista. The driver is honking his horn. Now Sunny is coming out on rollerblades. She's wearing tight, short shorts and a halter top that shows her navel ring. She's laughing and waving. The girl and the two guys are shouting hi to her. They think it's really cool that she already has on her blades. Dawn's life is so not interesting that she's writing about her friend that she's not speaking to in her diary. Sunny climbs into the car without opening the door. Then she gives the driver a big kiss and peels away from the curb. And he peels away from the... Well, they peel away from the curb, you know. This is my former best friend is doing less than half an hour after her terminally ill mother went to the hospital in an ambulance. I hate being so angry at Sunny. I hate it, but really, it's all her fault. Oh, God. Square Bob SpongeBands. Dawn grows up to be the vegan teacher. You cannot convince me otherwise. Yes, she grows up to be a Karen in training, which the vegan teacher's name is literally Karen. Probably the only Karen that deserves it. Still have it, actually. Dawn can't even claim she's a vegetarian because of an extraordinary level of dedication. Like, she was raised vegetarian on low carb. She eats that way because it's what she knows. Yeah, she's 13. She's not, like, making choices to save the world. She's a child. That's assuming they even let her. Her dad wasn't in the ambulance either. Right? They might not have even let her because sometimes there's not room depending on what the issue is. 11-year-old, she can sleep in the closet after I said no. Ugh. Husbands. I wouldn't know. I don't have any, but you know. I'm buying a plush frog too. And me and my best friend are naming the frog Gilbert G. Goober. I love this. Dawn, stop trying to gaslight the readers. We know the truth. I just love that she's writing about Sunny instead of herself in her own diary. She's such a busybody. Mrs. Bruin forgot Sunny is 13. Yes. Yes, she did. Dawn, shut up. You were not thinking about Carol. No. Sometimes things aren't about you, Dawn. You were thinking about how you wanted to see her get chewed out. Keep the Dawn slander coming. I'm very much enjoying this. Dawn, you don't like Carol anyway, you stupid bitch. Jill was immature because she thought you have gotten heat over the party at the beginning. Right? Poor Jill. Justice for Jill. Jill was their friend that they just ditched after the first book because she was, like, still into kid stuff. I relate to Jill, and I feel horrible for her. And now you want Sunny to be in trouble. And you, yeah, gee, maybe she needs a distraction from her actual series. That's right. It was Dawn's idea to go to a party, which Jill was like, "You're gonna get in trouble," and then she ditched Jill, and now she's like, "How come Sunny isn't getting in trouble?" Gee, maybe she needs a distraction from her actual serious trauma. You ungrateful ignoramus of a child. Help her, girl. Like we all agree, Dawn is the exception to the rule to never hit children. She's a fictional child, so. Oh, look at the white fluffy kitty. Look at them. They're all so cute. Wait, are there 6 of them? How many kittens are there? I thought there were only 5. One of them was hiding. I want to tell her how much better than her you are. That. Now I would never hit a child or condone hitting a child, but someone needs to take care of this girl. Right, Milo? She's 13. 13, crikey. Yes, she's 13. They're all 13. Which is why yeah. It's, they act like they're older, but they're not. They're 13. Except for Ducky, who's 15. Except for Ducky, who's 15. Dawn is playing victim. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Dawn has been playing victim since literally line 1. 16 he drives. Right, he just turned 16. Right, because he's like 2.5 years older than them. We started the book, so yes, BTW Avery. It's the 1933 King Kong's 90th birthday today. Happy birthday, King Kong, original King Kong. I need to cover some of those old movies eventually. Dawn has a severe case of white savior syndrome. Yes, she does. Astrid, Mega 100 on her accelerated reader test over Goldie, the Sunshine Fairy. Yay! Congratulations, Astrid. I don't know if she's around, but tell her congratulations. How old is the author? How old at the time? So these are, if you know about the Babysitters Club, these are Anne M. Martin. So she was probably, what, in her 40s when she wrote these? She's very known for writing books that they're very relatable for real kids. Although most of these at this point were ghostwritten by other writers, but, you know. Dawn, one of the vegans who acts like they're holier than thou and pretend food dessert deserts don't exist, right? You should consider trying to install a kid's bed. I also sleep in the closet or under the bed. I liked feeling enclosed. It was safe. Same. I think it's a neurodivergency thing. Not that I'm an expert, but I like to feel enclosed, and I am neurodivergent. Here's some very circumstantial evidence. Tornado kids are vicious. They can sense fear. This is just a right now thing. Well, that's good. Oh, they're all so cute. I personally would, they are all cute. I personally would want one of the gingers, but that's just me. Dawn is the reason her parents divorced. Like, no, Dawn, it is your fault. I know it's usually not the kid's fault, but on this one specific occasion, it is your fault. And being 13 is what? Sonny is left home with only one bedridden pregnant person and the stove on. Right, that's why it's so, like, silly that she's the one being blamed for this, because it's like she's literally a child. Set up my neighbor's couch cushions like a coffin for sleepovers. That's funny. When I was a wee baby, my mom used to lose me sometimes in the house. Like, she'd set me on the floor while she was doing a chore and I'd crawl off, and she always found me in the kitchen cabinets. I used to like there was this one, my grandmother had this like wicker basket coffee table thing. I love to get into that thing. My mom was just like, "You're gonna suffocate." And I was like, "No, I'm not." What's the most unusual cat color? It's funny because I don't actually think about cats as like breeds like I do dogs. I just think about them by like color, even though there are technically different breeds. Purple, obviously. Calico. That is true. Calicos are pretty genetic. Aren't calicos? No, it's torties that are always female. Calicos can be male, I think. I forget. Fairly rare cat color patterns. Tabby must be the most common. Tabby's pretty common. Well, actually, all but one of my cats is some form of tabby. Oh, look at them. They're so cute. They're playing. This one's like, I'm gonna kill Minnie Mouse. Cuties. Calicos and torties are both majority female to my knowledge. Okay. Babysitter's Club movie, yes, purple. Obviously there are no purple cats to my knowledge. I don't think there are any purple cats. If somebody sees a purple cat, let me know. The rat or mouse purple cats. Yeah, that's not a thing. But I wish it was. I have a story that starts with a little baby dragon that fell asleep in a teapot. Oh. Cute. All right, let me read the next bit of this before everybody's like, just keep reading, please. Saturday, noon, 6/6. This is all before noon. I forgot how much Dawn just, like, goes off in her diaries. All the other kids are, like, living their lives. Dawn is just like, let me tell you about everything that happened, literally. We're now on the third entry of Saturday, and it's only noon. Maggie phoned. I've known her even longer than I've known Sunny, but somehow we're just not as close. It used to be so much fun when the four of us hung out together. Sunny, Maggie, Jill, and me. But Jill's been out of the picture so long that I can barely remember what the picture used to look like. She's so childish. I still can't believe that she gave away the secret of Carol's pregnancy. She just blurted it out like a little kid. Which she only knew because Dawn told Jill, and she wasn't supposed to tell anybody. I'm still mad about that, but really, it goes even deeper. What's happening? What was that? Hi? OBS, are we okay? I see Jill in the halls, and we just don't connect. She's off in her own little world, and I'm stuck here in the real world. Christ. I'm going to the beach tomorrow with Maggie, Amalia, who's really more Maggie's friend than mine, and some of their friends from their band. I love the beach. I love to surf. It'll be a great change of scene. Who knows? Maybe Maggie and I will become closer. We have a new follower, I guess, on Twitch? I'm not sure exactly. That seems like a Twitch thing. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by kittens. Maggie and I will become closer. It's worth a try. There's Carol's bell again. I told her I'd make her a snack and give her a back rub. It must be awful to not be able to get out of bed. The baby will be her reward. I can't help but wonder, what will Mrs. Winslow's reward be? Oh! Why did she have to go there? Dawn needs new friends, worse friends, people on her level, right? None of her current friends deserve to have this kind of friend. By the way, this is Adorable Stars Kittens. I like to shout out the live streams because they're usually from rescues. So if you would like to go and follow this particular stream, feel free. Adorable Stars Kittens. Let me put this in the description box. Or actually, let me pin it. Jay, just saw what you got here. Sorry, going back to kittens. Her number is infinity. Back on my computer for now, Dawn. You bitch about how everyone used to be my friend, but I'm kind of the worst, but I don't know I'm the worst, so I think everyone is being really mean to me and my problems. 10-year-old still in the closet, but the weather radio is off? Progress? Yeah, I'd say with absolutely zero parenting experience, so I'm sure I'm a great person to answer this question. They just give her time. She'll probably, or they will probably come out when they're ready. She's literally like such a liar, right? On the Infinity Train, her number would be so high, right? Oh, that's such a gaslighter. No one gaslight gatekeep girl bosses like Dawn. This story. Her life is just her her life is just her talk, but everyone else is worse than you. You gave away the secret, Dawn. Dawn is Regina George light. You know, Regina George at least had, I think, more redeeming qualities than this. They've had their fur dyed, yeah. Dawn's God's ultimate test for man. Most people, you need friends because you deserve better. Chat to Dawn, you need new friends because your friends deserve better. The almost stepmother from The Parent Trap, yep. Dawn needs a reboot. Dawn desperately needs a PR manager or something, because this is not it. Oof. Alright. Sunday afternoon. We've made it to Sunday. We're 12 pages in. We have made it to the second day. Sunday afternoon, 6/7. Here I am at the beach. I'm writing this on the big rock that juts out into the ocean. I love it here, even when I'm upset. As the waves crash on the sand and retreat, I try to visualize them taking away my bad thoughts and cleansing my spirit. Just fluffing the aura. Maggie and Amalia are sitting on the beach with Rico, Patty, and Bruce. Rico is strumming a guitar. Patty and Bruce are softly tapping out a beat on the cooler. Maggie is singing. She has a beautiful voice and writes the best lyrics. It's cool that she's started to share them with us. I'm glad I came to the beach today, but I might as well have come alone. I don't feel like part of this crowd. Earlier, I asked Maggie to go for a walk with me on the beach. She said yes. But I saw her look back at the others as she stood up, like she really didn't want to leave. Or maybe she just doesn't know you and those are her friends that she knows better. I told Maggie she didn't have to come if she didn't want to. Maggie insisted she wanted to walk with me. She picked up her towel and wrapped it around her waist. I have to cover up my flab, she whispered. Maggie is dealing with an ED, so just caution for the viewers about that. Flab, excuse me, but what is she talking about? Maggie is slender with a capital S. So as we started walking, As we started our walk, I told her she didn't have any flab. She argued with me about it. That conversation ended with my saying whatever, and then I asked if she'd talked to Sunny lately. A very helpful thing when you're going through that. Not really, she answered. Friendships change, it happens. I didn't agree. I wanted to say that the friendship I had with Sunny was deeper than with anyone else in our group, but I realized that might make Maggie feel a little weird, since she was one of our group too. Listen, Maggie said, Rico's playing his guitar. Let's go back. End of conversation. I sat on the edge of the blanket. All right, I guess Maggie is the one. I guess Amalia is the one that she doesn't know so well. But still, she literally just looked at her friends and she's mad at her about it. I sat on the edge of the blanket and listened to them play for a while, but I just felt more and more alone. So I went for a long swim, and now I'm writing this. I hope Maggie and her new friends don't want to stay at the beach too late. I promised Dad I'd help make dinner tonight. Dawn is definitely the Katie of the story. Such a nice way to resolve a conflict. Oh, that you thought might make her feel weird? Dawn, you are the architect of your own issues. You are literally making these problems. Dawn isn't letting herself have a good time right now. She's looking for stuff to be slighted by. True. Out of everything you say, this one is when you consider some... This one time is when you consider someone's feelings? Yeah, not when you're, like, not being sensitive about her ED. Of course not. Stepmother from the Parent Trap is just an honest woman chasing her coin and claiming her man, unlike Dawn. Dawn is definitely Katie of the story. Kitten looks like a raccoon. Dawn needs a factory reset, not a reboot. Jill spilled the secret. No, what happened was you weren't supposed to tell anyone, and then you told Jill, and then you had a freak out when Carol found out you told Jill, because Jill accidentally exposed your inability to keep secrets. Yup. No one gaslights like Dawn. Oh my god. Jesus. I know this is a fictional teenager, but I'm very upset. Oh, the kittens have been paused this entire time. Poor kittens. Sorry, kittens. Didn't mean to pause you. Dawn. Sunday, night 6-7. Dad made pasta primavera for dinner. I can't hear pasta primavera without thinking of it's not technically. It makes me think of pasta puttanesca from Series of Unfortunate Events. And I made a salad and baked some oatmeal raisin cookies. Of course Dawn would bake oatmeal raisin cookies. I can't talk to him about Sunny. I can't talk to him about much of anything these days, unless it has to do with Carol and the baby. He'll ask me the usual parent questions, like how's school, where are you going tonight, did you have a good time at the beach, how high were the waves? But I don't think he's really listening when I answer. I know he's always thinking about Carol and the baby, which is only natural. Carol and the baby are his new family. Jeff and I are his old family. And his new family is what's most important to him right now. Anyway, that's how it feels sometimes. We took trays to the bedroom so we could eat with Carol. She sits up on her bed and we sit around her. Carol's big belly is like a centerpiece. The baby is due any day now. Dad oohs and ahs and is always putting his hand on Carol's stomach to feel the baby. Jeff is fascinated. He loves to watch the baby move. He calls it the pod, like it's a character in a sci-fi movie. Am I the one who feels like there was going to be more of a plot line about her not keeping the baby or having a miscarriage because of the way that she was acting in the first book? Glad that didn't happen, but love that Avery just apologized to a live stream of kittens. I'm sorry, kittens. I didn't mean to pause you. I didn't know that they were paused. Jeff is pretty excited about having a half-brother or sister. He seems to genuinely like Carol, too. Maybe that's because Jeff is still a child, and Carol can act pretty juvenile herself. Oh my gosh! I can't. That sounds mean, but it's true. I guess Carol is basically an okay person. I might even like her if she were someone else's stepmother, but she's my stepmother. Besides, I already have a mother. Sometimes I feel guilty about not being excited about the baby. I try to show a little enthusiasm, but with all the other things I have on my mind, it's not easy, and I don't want to fake it. I hate when people pretend they're happy about something and you can tell they really aren't. If I felt closer to Carol, maybe I'd be more excited about her baby. Maybe not. I mean, it'll only be my half-brother or sister. What are we rounding down now? I'll barely get to know it. By the time it's 5 years old, I'll be in college, and then I'll probably never live at home again. You're gonna get to know the baby. What are you talking about? Carol wanted to know about the beach and who was there. She misses the ocean and can't wait to get back to surfing. She patted her belly. We'll be surfing before you know it, Emerson. Emerson, my father said in alarm. Now that's a new one. Carol giggled and said she was just trying a new name on us. Then Dad, Carol, and Jeff were off talking about their favorite subject, what to name the baby. I mean, it's a pretty fun subject. Carol suggested that we start with the A's and say every name that we liked. Jeff said we should do boys' names first. He's convinced Carol is going to have a boy. She wanted me to be the secretary for the session of the name game, but I gave the honor to Jeff. I said I'd clear the dishes and get our dessert. I was pretty bored with the name game. Oh, it's not about me. How could they? Here's something that surprised me. Dad and Carol have had plenty of opportunities to find out the sex of the baby. The pregnancy has been difficult, so Carol had a zillion tests. The doctors and nurses know whether it's a girl or a boy, but Carol doesn't want to know. Some people don't want to know. Some people don't care. I love it, she always says. It'll be a nice surprise in the delivery room. I think Dad would like to know whether he's having a son or a daughter, but he's doing whatever Carol wants. The only reason, well, he could know if she doesn't want to know. You know? He probably just doesn't care. The only reason I wish they'd find out is because it would cut the time they spend on the name game in half. I don't really care what they name it. It's more their baby than my sister or brother. So while my father, brother, and Carol played the name game, I brought their dishes to the kitchen, loaded the dishwasher, made coffee for my dad, and herbal tea for Carol, poured glasses of milk for Jeff and me, laid the cookies on a plate, put everything on a tray, and went back to the bedroom. I could hear Jeff clowning around about the name Attila and Dad and Carol laughing. Jeff, said Carol with a sigh, I'd be so happy if I had a boy just like you. Dad grinned. Being a prisoner in this bed isn't so terrible with visitors like you guys, added Carol. Right, I thought, and servants like me. My blood pressure is rising. While we ate dessert, we gave Jeff names to put on the list. I suggested Brad and Brett. Of course she would choose. No offense if your name is Brad or Brett, but that just feels like names that Dawn would choose just because they're popular and she probably doesn't care that much. We started with the C's, then Jeff and I did the dishes, and then I went back to my room and closed the door. I have to admit, it's a relief not to be sharing my room with Sunny, her stuff and her complaints. Her complaints, huh? Sunny was taking up all the air in my room. It's good to be able to close the door and be alone with my own thoughts, even when they aren't happy ones. Ooh, they're so small and clumsy. I know, just like me, but cuter. If characters from California Diaries were cookies, Dawn would be raisin oatmeal cookies. It fits, right? hate Dawn in both the books and the 90s series, but like her in the Netflix reboot. I've heard some people say that she's fine in the reboot, but mostly just because she doesn't do that much in the reboot. But I'm gonna hate her out of principle, I can already tell you. I'm very biased. My friends had EDs in school, and I just didn't always know how to talk about it with them either. I just kept telling them they weren't that. Yeah, I mean, that's a very normal, like, I dealt with this, especially in high school, and it's like one of those things where it's like, that's all you can do. Although ending the conversation, I'd say, with whatever is probably a hostile tone that's not helpful, but that's really the only thing I can get on Dawn for. Missing so much, I'll definitely have to rewatch this. It'll be up, Texas. Most of them don't know what Maggie's going through, and that's fairly realistic 13-year-old reaction. Yeah, no. Yeah, that's fair. I'll give her that one. We can't expect 13-year-olds to understand kitten paws. Oh, they're so cute. No. No, he's just a sad little gray kitty. Oh, look at these two. They're like in the bottom left corner. They're just like fighting. But like very gently. Oh, so cute. Oh, there must be 7. There must be more of them. Because where's the white one? Just more cats just keep popping up out of nowhere. There's no filter. She's acting like he moved out of town to a 2-bedroom apartment and makes her sleep on the couch, right? Anyone heard of The Secret Diary of Adrian Mole, age 13 3/4? I've heard of it, but I have not read it. You literally live with him and eat meals with him, and he talks to you like a dad talks to their kid. That's not getting a new family. Are you stupid, right? One to read on here, Avery, your viewers love it. Very funny and very British. I love that. Speaking of very funny, very British, like grade school books that I was really into, do you know Clarice Bean novels and the spin-off Ruby Redford novels? I used to read them over and over and over again. Well, the Ruby Redford novels came out by the time I was a little bit older, but I still read them. But the Clarice Bean ones I read over and over. Mole when I was a kid, I thought it was good. Everyone seems so pissed off at this book. We're just pissed off at Dawn. Ending your friendship with Sunny over the near death of a baby you're not excited about, and a stepmother you don't want anyway. Right. You already have a stepfather and a stepsister you used to do business with, right? Right? She's like, my other step family used to be my best friend though, so that one can slide. From the 80s too. Ooh, I love stuff from the 80s. 80s was a great decade. Now she's ending her friendship with Sunny because Sunny's life no longer revolves around their friendship, like Dawn expected to continue forever and all time. That's the point. He's supposed to be a yeah. Yeah. I can imagine from what I've heard. At least appreciate her family. Yep, seems legit. Yeah, Sunny, the one who's like crying because she feels like she lost a second family because of this whole misunderstanding that she ended up in the middle of, is the one that doesn't care about her family. To do with a pregnancy, follow mom's wishes. Yes. Yeah, she's the one who's literally bedridden for 3 months because she's growing a tiny human. She gets to do whatever she wants. Dawn had it her way. She put laxatives on tea. No one asked you to do all that, Dawn. You know who would be doing it if she was here? Sunny. But you kicked Sunny out of the house. You don't deserve care anyway. On Vaughn. The list of names writes itself. Complaints, you mean? Your complaints, not right. She's the one always complaining. So I'm the parent of Gilbert G. Goober, and my best friend is still deciding if he's the uncle or other parent. Dawn telling about Sunny not visiting her mom enough while refusing to spend time with her own family. Cute kitties. The kitties are adorable. I'm invested in the white kitten on the outside playing with the lights. I know, right? Did it escape? What happened? The white one seems to be very independent. He seems to just kind of go off and do his own thing and come back. Which BSC member do we all think we are? Mary Ann, absolutely, but I used to cry at everything, and then I got a cool haircut and started acting like, is it me, or does the story feel like a rehash to Christie's first book? It's fairly different. I don't think I've read Christie's first book. Wait, is that you mean the pilot book or the first book? I don't think we've read on stream yet. Also, Christy can also be annoying, but she is a little bit more redeemable than Dawn. Dawn is just awful. Like, you cannot tell me that Ann M. Martin and any and all ghostwriters that have written for Dawn like her. She is the Ned Nickerson of this universe. Christy's great idea. We have it. We can read it at some point. Decided I'd be the uncle who gives up Pepsi to the rest of the family. That's, I think, the best to be. The witchy aunt, the uncle with Pepsi, you know, these are the roles of the family you want. Lunch 6-8. I ate lunch with Maggie and Amalia, who are now going over some ideas Amalia has for the band. We had a pop quiz in math this morning. I think I did okay, but Maggie thinks she flunked it. I never do well on those kinds of tests, she complained. If only I'd known we were having a pop quiz, I would have spent more time on math last night. It's so weird the way Maggie worries about schoolwork. I'm sure she didn't fail the test. She never fails. She aced every test she's ever taken. Yeah, because she's a gifted kid. That means the better you do, the more of your self-worth gets tied up in the schoolwork, and then the more you feel like you have to work on it. Reminded her of that, but I don't think it sank in. Maggie will worry about the test until she gets it back with a big, fat, red 100. Sunny, on the other hand, cut math, and I don't see her in the lunchroom now either. It's the same old story. She's probably playing hooky. Why is she doing this? To do today. Hospital visit with Mrs. Winslow. Bookstore for Carol. She writes the to-do list in her journal? Interesting. Mystery novel, Nightfall by Randall Pierce, magazines, My Lucky Stars, New Parent, Vogue. Serve dinner, do dishes, check with Dad about plane reservations for flight to Connecticut, request vegetarian meal. Oh, she's going to Connecticut, I see. Request vegetarian meal. Make schedule for exam preps, finals in 5 days. Hem jean shorts, decide on gifts to buy for Mary Ann, Mom, and Richard. I can't believe I'm going back to Stony Brook in 2 weeks. Here I am in my own room, in my house, in my life in California. I can't imagine myself on the other side of the country, in a different room, in a different house, in my other life. I probably won't mind being in Stony Brook once I'm there, but I'm afraid I will mind not being here. I'm worried about what will happen to my life here when I'm not a part of it. The first book we read, she was calling home homesick when she was in California the first time. I know she's from California, but the first time she went back. Will I have a half-brother or a half-sister? More important, will the delivery go? Okay, how will I feel about having a baby brother or sister? Will Mrs. Winslow be at home or in the hospital when I leave? What will happen to her during the 9 weeks I'm in? Stony Brook. I hate leaving when she's so sick. That bothers me more than anything. Will Sunny run away for good? Sometimes I think that she'll cut out and not come back. She must be so upset. So why won't she let anyone help her? As a psychology student, I feel comfortable diagnosing Dawn as a sociopath. Best friend. Christy's kind of a control freak, wants things to go her own way, and Dawn definitely shares that trait, which is why they butted heads a lot in earlier books of the series. Yeah, I would say she wants things to go her own way. I think the reason she's a little bit more redeemable is mostly because she's mostly just a type A personality, and she's really concerned about things going correct for everybody else. So I think that's why it's a little bit easier to deal with her annoying bossiness, because Dawn just cares about her. But Christy, I think, genuinely cares about, like, making sure that all of the other BSC members get their jobs and that everybody gets their kids watched and, you know, competency and reputation and all that stuff. She wants to do things correctly, even if she goes about it wrong. Like, sure, Ned cheated on Nancy, but otherwise, he's just boring. Dawn just doesn't have redeeming qualities. Yeah. In addition to Christy feeling that Dawn is stealing Mary Ann from her. Oh, yeah, I remember that. A little. Why is she doing this? Because she has trauma, Dawn. Dawn, who has never had trauma one day of her life. The fact that personalities are the same book in the 90s series, maybe that's why they've changed her personality in the Netflix reboot to make her different to Christy. Dawn and Christy have always been quite similar. I literally have had teachers refuse to give me end of term extra credit because I had a 95 to 100 in class, but had still worked up enough anxiety about my grade to ask. Yeah, it happens. In my other life, Dawn, chill the fuck out, you Hannah Montana. Someone regrets ordering from Wish. Hannah Montana from Wish is Dawn Schafer. That's funny. Or else I feel it had to do better if I wasn't a literal 100. Yeah, I felt the same way. I remember my first what is it called? What would it be? The Cats 5, I guess. When I first did that, which I guess was in like 3rd grade, I got like a 99th percentile, and then every time after that I felt like I had to match or do better, which was basically impossible. So like I always had like pressure, even though I was always doing well enough. I think I must go Dawn then if we're picking. So limited to choice, only heard a few over the time here, but I'll take Dawn being very dissatisfied with my school friends despite liking them. The thing is, Dawn goes around acting like she's so laid back and go with the flow, but she actually hates when anyone has any fun without her or has fun doing things she doesn't like. No, we could never sentence you to being a Dawn. Gifted kid anxiety is a thing, that's my point. Yes, Adriel, I totally agree with you. Look at the pile of kittens. Look, they're all snuggled up to the Minnie Mouse. It's so cute. I'm very invested in where the white one is because they're either at the bottom of this pile or they're just off having their own adventures. Dawn is more laid back in the Netflix series. I think when I start covering, well, I might do the movie. There's also the old HBO show. There's a lot of iterations of this. Add me to the kitten pile. I just want a pile of kittens. Monday afternoon, 6/8. I walked into Miss Winslow's hospital room and found it empty. I rushed to the nurse's station in a panic. They told me she was having a treatment and would be back in a little while. I was terrified that the worst had happened, but it hadn't. Not this time. I'm now in her room, which is pretty cheerful for a hospital room. A purple and orange quilt she made out of her own tie-dyed fabric is at the foot of the bed. A bouquet of roses and a lily plant make the room smell a little better than most hospital rooms. Isn't a lily plant from Sunny? Just a little. Also on the windowsill are framed finger paintings that Sunny did when she was a kindergartner, and a framed photo of Sunny and her dad with their arms around each other. Oh, it breaks my heart when people like have when people are in the hospital long enough to like put up art. Like I'm glad that they can, but it just breaks my heart that they have to be there for that long. Ducky gave me a ride to the hospital. He said he was going that way anyway, but I knew he just wanted to talk to me about Sunny. Ducky is such a great guy. Ducky's always driving everybody. He's funny, kind, considerate, and cute. It's hard to find all of those qualities in one person, much less a 16-year-old guy. He's been a good friend to Sunny. Maybe too good. I think Sunny takes advantage of Ducky and the fact that he has his own car. They're best friends. She's the one that's there for him. They cry together. If she snaps her fingers, Ducky is there to drive her wherever she wants to go. So, he said as soon as we drove out of the school parking lot, are you and Sunny still not talking? Nope, I replied. I didn't tell him why. Nothing had changed. I didn't tell him that she went out blading just minutes after her mother returned to the hospital. I figured Sunny should keep whatever friends she can. I think Sunny needs you, Dawn, Ducky said. She doesn't seem to think so, I told him. I tried. I really did. And I left her messages and she didn't call back. And she's making jokes about our not being friends. It's like she doesn't care about anything. She used to care about me, her parents, school, her reputation, the future. I like that she lists herself at the top of that thing. At the top of that list. Ducky sighed and ran his hand through his hair. I know you tried, he said, but sometimes you have to stick with your friends, even when they aren't so nice to you. They just need you to be around. It's hard to be around someone who isn't talking to you and keeps running away, I muttered. I feel like this book is short, but we're making normal headway with it, like all the other books. I think Anne Martin knew. I think she knew that we were going to need built-in time to scream into the void. Thank you, Anne. / whatever other authors worked on this. Ducky, by the way, for those who are new, is called Ducky because he reminds everybody of Ducky from Pretty in Pink. So that should give you a pretty good visual. I know, Ducky said softly. I realized that Ducky was thinking about Alex. It can't be much fun to be around your oldest friend when he's so depressed, which seems to be most of the time these days. Ducky spends a lot of time with Alex, even when Alex acts like he doesn't want Ducky around. I'm sure Alex's dark moods bring Ducky down. I guess, whoa, Mama Cat is back. I saw that out of the corner of my eye. I guess Ducky hopes that simply being there, he's helping Alex, just like he's trying to help Sunny. I thought, that's what I should be doing for Sunny. I silently resolved to try one more time to make up with her. Ducky opened his door and jumped out. For a minute, I thought he was going to visit Mrs. Winslow too, but he'd gotten out of the car to open the door for me. Ducky is the only guy I know who has manners like that. He should have a more sophisticated name than Ducky. Something like Emerson or Randall or Randall the Third. Sorry, misread that. I was like, what are you talking about? Randall the Third. Emerson. Isn't that what Carol wanted to name the baby? Or maybe like Maximilian. If Carol and Dad named their baby Maximilian, they could call him Max. That's a cute nickname. Or Maxine if it's a girl. Max is a great nickname for a girl too. Dawn? Is Dawn... I don't even want to hold out hope that Dawn's gonna get a redemption arc. Yeah, Dawn, it's called being there for your friend. Yeah. Lilies in a hospital room? That's a little dark, LMAO. Lilies are traditionally for funerals. Ooh, you're right. I forgot about that. I forgot that was a thing. Oh no. I wonder if they knew that when they wrote that. It's the lily from Sunny to replace the one that died from outgrowing its pot. Right, yep. So do you, Dawn. It's been clear that I have to go to bed and stop worrying about 10-year-old in closet. Good night, Texas. Let's see how she's going to sleep well enough to be ready for school in the morning. It's called being there. Well, I mean, I guess if she doesn't sleep very well, she won't do it again. I guess either way, she'll be, Don, you, Amalia, Maggie, literally all of you take advantage of Ducky. Alex and Jay also take advantage of Ducky. Ducky might as well change his name to fucking Doormat. Yeah, poor Ducky. Like, Ducky's whole book is about, like, feeling so alone and having to do all the emotional labor in everybody's relationships. Dawn, when did you say anything about trying to make up? All you did was accuse her and tell her how wrong she was. Suddenly, you put in all this effort to save the friendship. I don't know who Ducky is, but I can't stop thinking of Dewey from Scary Movie. Why is Child in closet? I believe Child was scared of tornadoes. Well, my cat is conveniently returned now that the pile is asleep. Smart mama. Oh, she's so cute. Look at her. Animal third. God, she's so 13. She really is. You've acquired a new Karen. Her name is Dawn. Tornado sirens went off during dinner. Maximilian sounds like a reboot of Demon Seed. Oh, she will come out. When Gilbert arrives, I'll teach them not to be a Dawn. Teach your children not to be Dawns of this world. Or if your child is named Dawn, teach them to reclaim the name. Note to the universe, especially in the event the gods allow Dawn to produce more Hellspawn as an adult. Don't let Dawn name babies. Don't let Dawn name babies. You know that Dawn's gonna be a Hunbot when she grows up. You know she's gonna be one of those people, like, trying to sell you essential oils on Facebook. Maximilian is Goofy's son's name, so I will let it slide. Although his personality is literally being goofy, so I don't know what that says about the also choosing the same name for your kid, but... Oh, I like Max. It's a good gender-neutral name, I guess. Monday night, 6/8. I can't concentrate on my science homework. I have to review the organs of the human body. The illustration in my biology book is of a healthy body, but all I can think about is Mrs. Winslow's unhealthy body. Mr. Winslow told my father that the cancer has spread to her bones, so they're trying some new chemotherapy treatment. That's why she's in the hospital this time. When they brought her to the room after the treatment, I could see that she was exhausted and in pain. I'm sorry you had to come back to the hospital, I said after I kissed her hello. Me too, she said weakly, but I'm still fighting, Dawn. I squeezed her hand. I'm glad. I'm really glad. I pulled a chair up next to the bed. So how are you? She asked. I didn't want to tell her how I really was. She had enough problems. So I said, okay, great. You literally have no problems, Dawn. It's okay. I know things aren't so great between you and Sonny these days, she said. You aren't speaking to one another. I was surprised that Mrs. Winslow knew. I hoped that Sonny hadn't made a big deal out of it when with her parents. They had enough trouble. I wondered what Sonny had said about me. We did have an argument, I replied very carefully, but we'll get over it. We'll get over it. Do you want to talk about it? Asked Mrs. Winslow. I wanted to tell my side of the story, but I didn't want her to worry about our problems when she should be putting all of her energy into fighting the cancer. It's nothing to worry about, I said. Really? Mrs. Winslow put her hand over mine. Yes, she said softly. It'll work out. It always does with you two. I wanted so much to tell her that I didn't think it would work out this time. To tell her the whole awful story, I wanted to cry on her shoulder just the way I did when I skinned my elbow falling off Sonny's trampoline when we were kids. You're still kids, but okay. When you're 13, you don't think you're still a kid, but you absolutely are. We weren't kids anymore, and I was there to cheer up Sonny's mother. I'm very glad Sonny has you, Dawn, she continued. I know that no matter what happens, she can count on you. I nodded. Tears welled up in my eyes. Dawn always comes back like a bad penny, as my mother likes to say. I didn't want Mrs. Winslow to see them. I couldn't tell her that I was afraid Sonny and I might never be friends again, so I changed the subject by telling her that we were all going crazy trying to come up with a name for the baby. Some of Jeff's silly ideas made her laugh. Then she started coughing, this awful raspy cough. God, cancer sucks. Which made her throw up. After we cleaned up, she lay back on the pillows. I told her I thought I should go so she could rest. Maybe, she murmured. Sonny's too busy to come today, but Paul will be here after he closes the bookstore. I told her that I was going to the bookstore to buy some books and magazines for Carol. She said I should ask Mr. Winslow for a copy of a book called Name Your Baby, as a gift from her to Carol. She smiled weakly. The next time you come, you can give me an update on your quest for the perfect baby name, she said. I'm looking forward to the baby's arrival. If we're lucky, the baby will look just like you. I kissed her goodbye. I don't think there's much chance that the baby will look like me, but it was sweet of Mrs. Winslow to say that. It's just like her to think of everybody but herself. It's too bad Sonny can't be more like her mother. I took a bus into town and went directly to the bookstore. Mr. Winslow is expanding it. It's been really stressful, especially with Mrs. Winslow so sick. Sonny helps her father out occasionally, but she always complains about it. She got Ducky a job at the store, too. I think Sonny wants to keep her chauffeur close by. Mr. Winslow was deep in conference. Sonny really can't do anything right, can she? Mr. Winslow was deep in conference with Ducky about where some books had to be shelved. I asked another clerk where the magazines were. By the fiction, she answered. As I was looking through the latest issue of Vogue, I heard Sonny's laugh. It never occurred to me that she'd be there. At her own parents' store? Since she'd cut school, I figured she was at Venice Beach for the day. Now here she was, a magazine rack away from me, hanging over some guy's shoulder as he flipped through a car magazine. Cool, she said. That's the hottest car. Cool and hot. Perfect. I'm going to test drive it later, he told her. I know the salesman. He'll let me take it out alone. I could come by and give you a turn in it. What do you say? I say okay, Sonny answered. Just pull into the driveway and honk twice. The guy closed the magazine and grinned at her. I thought, Sonny, if you have time to ride around with some guy you hardly know, you have plenty of time to visit your mother. Then I remembered my resolution to be like Ducky and hang in there for my friend. I decided that if Sonny made a gesture of friendship to me, even a little smile, I would talk to her. I'd say that I knew this was a hard time for her. Maybe I could tell her that her mother needed her. She only gets sympathy if she does what I want her to. The guy left, Sonny smiled to herself. Then I saw the corners of her mouth go down, and an incredibly sad look came over her face. She looked sad and very lonely, like when we first found out that her mother had cancer. This is the moment, I thought. This is the moment to make up with her. I was just about to say her name when she turned and saw me. Then her expression turned to anger. What are you doing? She hissed. Spying on me? Just mind your own business, okay? And leave me alone. In a heartbeat, I felt my sympathy turn to anger. I was not, I started to say, but Sonny had already turned her back on me and was headed towards the rear exit. The end. Just literally joke. Literally none of us want you within 5 feet of Sonny. No. If you can drive, you're too old. Winslow's. It's a sunny day in this neighborhood. Ho ho, lol. Milk and never come back. The entire book is just ripping on Sonny for no good reason. It's like, Sonny has trauma. How dare she? Good night, Texas. I was asking, she might actually want to listen, maybe get to feel like a mom for a few minutes instead of a cancer patient. Yeah. I mean, she sounds like a parent that really likes being a parent. She probably wants to be there for her. See you tomorrow. Yes, for Animorphs trauma. A different kind of trauma. Different flavor of trauma. Gilbert Sherlock Goober or Gilbert S. Goober. I like both. Gilbert S. Goober for short, I guess. Interesting. E.L. James' other, somehow more problematic novel after the 50 Shades series. I know this because I watched it read live for charity. Oh, was it Dominic Nobles? With Pushing Up Roses? I was watching some of that too. I was house sitting for somebody and I went in and they had that that book, the not 50 Shades, but the newer E.L. James book on the coffee table. And I was like, I mean, good for you for not being ashamed of reading erotica, but also there's got to be better erotica, in my personal opinion. But you should do a short parody of this book. Dawn and Sunny. Oh gosh. Oh god. This book kind of parodies itself, though, doesn't it? I completely believe that the person or persons writing this book hate Dawn just like we do. My Sunny seems 20 years in the future. Hey, babe, haven't talked to you in a while, but I have this amazing opportunity, and you were on my heart. Oh, yeah. Gilbert Sherlock. Hey, late horror show. Yes, it was Dominic Noble. Yes! I love that we were watching the same thing. What was the point of mentioning Mr. Winslow if it's gone nowhere? I mean, Mr. Winslow just is kind of reoccurring. This is the 7th book in the series, so he pops up. He was in the last book because it was from Sunny's point of view much more. He kind of sucks. He's kind of taking out all of his issues on his daughter, Sunny, so she's going through that as well as losing her mom. Exactly what I thought as I wrote it. I give the character a W for what an asshole. Yeah. Mm-hmm. For the typo, I know what you meant. Honestly, I had to look at it 3 times to even notice that there was a typo. Read Conan Doyle's The Lost World for stream one day. Conan, I'd love to read some old school Sherlock. I'd love to listen to some old school Sherlock radio plays live. I just think that's great. I guess they just were mentioning that Mr. Winslow was there, but yeah, I guess it just because this is supposed to read like a diary, so it's like she's writing whatever she saw, but like, yeah, there's really no point in bringing him up. Thursday night, 6/11. I haven't had time to write. Too busy studying for exams and helping. When was the last time you wrote? Oh, she hasn't written in 3 days. That is unusual for Dawn. I haven't had time to write. Too busy studying for exams and helping take care of Carol. Endless errands. Carol is bored and restless. I don't blame her. I would be too if I was trapped in bed for 3 months. I'm bored enough just keeping her company. We know from Sunny's perspective that she's not doing all that much. These days, maybe she's doing more now that Sunny's not doing everything, but like she was taking every opportunity to let Sunny do stuff. These days, Carol has 2 topics of conversation. 1, what to name the baby. 2, what she's going to do when she's back on her feet. I don't think she realizes that baby no name is going to take up most of her time when she's back on her feet. Yesterday, she made me pick up the summer class schedule at her gym in the new issue of Rollerblade magazine. Carol can't do the normal things a pregnant woman does, like shop for baby clothes and decorate the baby's room. I'm the one who has to do those things. Tomorrow, I have to go to the mall after school and get the baby's layette. Layette. All the things he or she will need for the first 6 months. That's a new phrase to me. I guess you can tell I don't have any kids. Dad and I are spending the weekend painting, decorating, and putting together the furniture for the baby's room. Carol has a whole file of ideas for how she wants the room to look, which she's cut out of magazines. Maggie thinks it's cute that I'm doing all this. She and Ducky are going with me to the mall. Amalia might come too. Thank goodness. I have some friends left. When am I going to study for finals? All in caps. Something I certainly wouldn't have chosen to read myself, so that's something. LOL. Yeah, you can always count on this channel to just be like, huh, literally never would have thought about that ever, but thanks, I guess. There's notably better erotica than E.L. James. Yeah, you won't see me reading any E.L. James on this particular channel, not really our vibe, but even I don't, but I would absolutely read the Twilight Saga. which we all know 50 Shades of Grey was literally just Twilight fan fiction until they realized they could just change the name and sell it as its own thing. So I guess that's the closest we'll ever get one day. There's also better free erotica. There is so much free erotica on the internet. That is a fact. Oh, I'm out of tea. I'm gonna open my water. I'll throw the bottle away and not just have trash everywhere like the gremlin that I am. You'd read Twilight? I would. I don't see why not. It's very up our alley. I always see discarded Twilight books in Goodwill, and I'm like, one of these days I'm just gonna read that. And probably now that I'm looking for it, they won't have them, but I'm sure I will find them. Oh, please, oh, please, oh, please read Twilight. I never read them. I only watched, like... I actually did watch most of the movies because my cousin was really into them, but I really only kind of remember the first one. I never read any of the books. In the Harry Potter versus Twilight made-up rivalry, I was very much Team Harry Potter. Erotica. Page once, not my thing. I was told there's better erotica on AO3 than E.L. James writes. R.L. Stein wrote Goosebumps erotic. Oh God, don't talk about the stay out. Oh God, stay out of the basement. Like Avery covered Model Land, so like Twilight is a marginal upgrade. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. In every way. In the problematic ways, in the quality, writing quality, everything is better than Model Land. Here, is that a cat on screen? No, I have it muted. That must be Perry. Do we remember the Buffy versus Twilight thing? Yes. Yes, I remember. He wrote 2 of them that we know of. Night of the Living Dummy, the original, gets pretty strange there for a second too. My Immortal on stream. I've threatened to. It probably will happen one day. It let me log My Immortal on Goodreads. Technically, you can write log completed fanfiction. It's more abandoned fanfiction than anything else, but... Hang on. Perry wants in. Give me 1 second, guys. Perry has entered the building, so you'll probably see her at some point. It's also very funny because Edward can read minds, so reading from his POV, he's just like judging everyone else so hard. Perry, you wanna come up, see the kitties? Come on. Can you sit, please? Can you... Why? Why, Perry? Hey. Hi, Perry. That is funny. Twilight was always just so accidentally funny, wasn't it? All right, Friday afternoon, 6:12. Well, you look at Perry because Perry's like, I am the most important thing you will see. Here I am at the juice bar at the mall. There are 3 big shopping bags at my feet. Pale yellow bags with pink and blue block lettering that say Baby Boutique. Maggie and Amalia are at the music store, and Ducky went to pick up Sunny at the beach and drop her off at the hospital. He asked me if I wanted to go with him so I can be verbally abused by Sunny? No, thank you. Shopping for baby clothes with Perry? Why, honey? Why are we doing the things that we're doing right now? Okay, you know what? Fine. You've lost phone privileges, Barry. Barry is the moment. No, it's fine. I wasn't doing anything, Perry. You're not in the way. Shopping for baby clothes was worse than I'd imagined. Not because of the baby and not because of the clothes. Because of guys. They drive me crazy. Not Ducky. They can be so immature. When we got to the mall, we checked out a few of our favorite clothing stores. Finally. What are we doing now? I'm sorry, were you not getting enough pets? Finally, I pulled out the list of things for the baby. Maggie read it over my shoulder. There's a lot of stuff here, she commented. Are you sure Carol's not having twins? I was laughing, but I said, that's not funny. I can't imagine our life with even one baby. It'll be fun, said Amalia. I love my sister. But your sister is older than you, I pointed out. When I'm 21, the baby who is going to be my half-sister or brother will only be 8. We're different generations. It'll be like her second mother, Ducky said brightly. I'm 13, I shrieked. I don't want to be anybody's mother, first or second. I turned to Maggie, but she was looking at herself in the store window. I checked myself out too. I looked like your average kid. Straggly blonde hair, a plain white t-shirt tucked into my jeans, and a knapsack slung over one shoulder. Maggie looked like a sophisticated kid in a black linen miniskirt, scoop neck purple t-shirt, blue suede sandals, and a trendy short haircut. Our eyes met in our reflections. I was about to tell her how I felt about my dad starting a new family when she said, I wish I'd worn my burgundy dress today. It's more flattering. All right, if anybody gets yeeted from chat, it's absolutely Perry rolling over on my phone. Sorry about that. You look great, I told her. She did. My stomach sticks out. They'll all think I'm pregnant in that store. She slapped her stomach like she was angry at it. You do not look pregnant, Amalia commented. I'm going to lose 5 pounds, Maggie said. 5 pounds, I protested. You look perfect just the way you are. No, I don't, Maggie snapped. But Maggie, I started to say. Is in, said Maggie. She's right about that, agreed Ducky. Most of the models look weak and sort of sickly. You and I are the same height, I told her. If you need to lose 5 pounds, what do you think about me? Maggie put her left hand around her right wrist. Look at this, she said. Small bones. Her index finger overlapped her thumb. Next, she put her hand around my wrist. There was no overlap. You have larger bones, she said. I should weigh a lot less than you do because my bones are smaller. I gave up. Come on, let's go to the baby store, I said. I'm worried about Maggie, and I'm disappointed in her as a friend. Anytime I've tried to talk to her about my problems, she starts talking about her weight, which is definitely not a problem. Every time I start talking about my problems, she starts talking about her problems, and that's just not what I need in a friendship. Jeez. We went into Baby Boutique. It smells great in here, Amalia said. Like baby powder, I added. And look at the shopping carts, Ducky said as he rolled one toward Maggie. They're baby carriages. Cute, Maggie commented. All very cute. She pushed it toward me. It's your baby. You can push it. It's not going to be my baby, I protested. I pushed the carriage/shopping cart down the aisle. It was hard to believe that whatever was in Carol's belly would soon be in a baby carriage. Look at this, Amalia cooed. Isn't it adorable? She held up the tiniest orange t-shirt I'd ever seen. In purple lettering, it announced, I'm here. Amalia insisted I should get it for the baby. I told her it was cute, but I figured I'd just stick to what was on the list. We were standing at the front desk waiting to check out. The sales clerk was helping a very pregnant woman with her shopping list. Amalia was holding up an infant nightie. She laid it against Ducky's chest. Imagine, Ducky, you were this tiny once. Ducky wasn't paying attention. He was looking at the doorway. I saw his expression transform from happy to fearful to annoyed in a split second. Two Cro-Mags, Marco and Mad Moose, took a few steps into the store. Isn't that sweet, said Marco. Ducky and his girls, said Mad Moose. Just ignore them, Ducky whispered between clenched teeth. I wonder which one of them is pregnant, Marco said. Ducky could be the father, Mad Moose added. Clear out, Ducky called to them. Get a life, added Amalia. Mad Moose shouted, maybe Ducky's the one who's pregnant. They roared with laughter and finally left. Typical Cro-Mag humor, not funny and at someone else's expense. Jerks, Ducky mumbled. I can't believe I used to hang out with some of those guys in 6th grade. I could tell he was upset. He looked at his watch. Perry, yes, those are kittens. They're not actually here, Perry. It is not a magic mirror. Please don't put your paw on the computer screen. I could tell he was upset. He looked at his watch. I have to pick up Sunny. I'll be back to get you guys in about an hour. Perry? Yes, those are kittens. And the mama cat. Great, said Amalia. She gave him a kiss on the cheek. Thanks, Ducky. I'm sorry I dragged you in here, I told him. He grinned at me. I had fun. Don't let those creeps get you down. Just like Ducky, worrying about us when he's the one who's most hurt. At least she finally accepted that somebody else had problems. Perry. Perry, honey, don't step on anything. Perry, honey. I was very pro Buffy, but became an adult and realized that a lot of problematic Twilight stuff is also in Buffy. True. Although I do think, not that I know too much about Buffy, but what I have seen, it's definitely better than Twilight. I think that's fair to say. I'm just very cringe to look back on. Perry is the moment, Perry. Like, Twilight is all, he's Adonis. I'm quivering. I forgot to breathe around him. At Midnight Sun is like, everyone is stupid and has vapid thoughts except her. She's stupid and has no thoughts. Barry! You got to get off of the computer! Ah. Here we go, Perry. Over here. There, Perry. Happy? Perry causing chaos as usual. Between Sunny and you, whomst is doing the abusing, right? All hail our goddess, Perry. That's foreshadowing. It's gonna be twins. I feel it in my timeshare of a soul. It says on your channel, Maddie was on 3 days ago when you were playing Kingdom. Oh my god, I'm going. Telling you, I truly feel like it was last night. Arg. Oh no, you're good. I just had a moment where I was genuinely just like, who's the last person I had on with me? And for some reason my brain skipped over Mondays because that's just been such a constant for months on this channel. And I was just like, oh yeah, Gabe was here on Sunday. I'm confused. I remember her reading out the stickers. Oh, I didn't even get to read all the stickers. Yeah, you're good. I just had a moment where I genuinely forgot where in the week we were. Dawn is so lacking in self-awareness. Perry? Walk off a cliff without realizing it, which I'm not against. Okay, I know this isn't meant to be the takeaway, but the idea that jocks think preg is viable option is just wildly funny to me. Yeah. Breaks down door. Death to Dawn. Death to Dawn. Hi. I am late to the Dawn hate rally. Yes. 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 Not at all, Paulo. Not that you're late, just that it is a Dawn hate rally is what I was affirming. Good chop. There's nothing embarrassing on your screen. Oh, thank goodness. I'm too boring to have anything scandalous on the screen. As an adult before he became a vampire sucking. Yeah, you know, that's always that. Perry, she's very interested. I like how you can just see the mama cat's legs. under the house. Can't be normal. I mean, I feel like that because, again, I work from home, so sometimes I'm just like, where are we? What day is it? If it were to come up on the Brink screen. Nah. All right. Yes, those are kitties. Perry. Perry, you're messing with the sound, Perry. I don't even know how she did that. Let me be, peasants. Do you see this? She is literally just intently watching this. It's actually very cute. Genuinely could only tell you Tuesday is over and it isn't Sunday yet. Yeah. Yup. Yeah, that started... When COVID started, I was just like, what are days? I was already bad with time management, and then COVID made it worse. I was nervous. This is Friday night, 6/12. I was nervous while we were waiting for Ducky to pick us up in front of the mall. What if Sunny was with him? What if she had decided to go to the hospital later on and not at all? Would I be sitting in the back seat next to her? I didn't know what I would do or say. Just imagining the scene made me feel angry at Sunny. Fortunately, Ducky was alone. Literally imagined problems now. As we rode along, Amalia and Maggie sang one song after another, so I didn't notice how quiet Ducky was until after he had dropped them off at Amalia's house and we were alone in the car. I told him I was sorry that I had dragged him to the mall, that if I'd known he had to pick up Sunny, I would have taken the bus. That he said he drove us because he wanted to come with us. Well, those guys in the store, I started to say, that's not what's bothering me, he said. Is it Alex, I asked? He shook his head. Then process of elimination tells me it's Sunny. You're upset about something she said or did? It's all right. Sunny's upset about her mother. You should say something to her, Ducky. Don't let her get away with things. Ducky shrugged. I don't want to dump on her. I don't want to dump on her either, but I'm not going to be her doormat. I don't want to dump on her either, but I absolutely will dump on her, is what she just said. Is that what you think I am? He asked. Sunny's doormat? I could hear the hurt in his voice, and I felt terrible. We pulled up in front of my house. I'm sorry, I said. I didn't mean it that way, Ducky. I just get so frustrated with her. That's all right. We were both looking at Sunny's house. The way Sunny's been acting has to be harder on you than it is on me. You've been friends for so long. I nodded. And we used to be so close, Ducky. I really miss that closeness. I put my hand over his arm. I admire you. You're so loyal to Alex and Sunny. I just can't be like that, and it's frustrating. Yeah, because he's a better person than you. To my surprise, Ducky replied, sometimes I do think I'm like a doormat, that I let everyone walk all over me. I could use a good sweep. I told him that he was a good friend to a lot of people, but that he should be a good friend to himself, too. Then I said, I better go in. Neither of us moved. So you're going to be busy all day tomorrow with the baby's room, he said. It can't be all that much fun for you. Are you and Carol very close? I told him how immature Carol seems to me, how sometimes we get on each other's nerves. Literally, Carol has done nothing to display that ever. Ducky said that's pretty normal. I was glad he understood. The one piece of advice was not to let my feelings for Carol, or lack of them, color how I feel about the baby. You must miss talking to Sunny about this stuff. Ducky observed, I think you're angry at her for not being there for you just when you need her. I told him I hadn't thought about it like that, but that I was mostly angry at her because she wouldn't let me help her. She's screwing up all over the place, Ducky. Ducky nodded. It's rough, but I predict it will all work out in time. Look at Ducky being Dr. Phil with hair and compassion. Ducky, I said with a laugh, you should be a shrink. You would make a great one. You think so? I was sure my true calling was the taxi business. You could be shrink on wheels, I suggested. We laughed. Ducky helped me carry the packages into the house. True Ducky chivalry. Good 3 and not a single vax. My friend is still trying. Oh, I've had 2 boosters and the initial vax. I'm just like, give me all the vaccines. The cat's trying to tell us something. Time is a social construct. Soft kitty, warm kitty, little ball of fur. Happy kitty, sleepy kitty, purr, purr, purr. I remember it so clearly. Yeah, time plays by our rules. My friend is still trying to convince me I had COVID because she thinks COVID brain fog is a better explanation than I'm actually losing my grip on reality. I'm sure you're not losing your grip on reality. But I say that when I might be losing my own grip on reality. Dawn, you treat everyone like a doormat, bitch, right? Immune. I'm walking amongst my COVID berries all day long. You know a lot about being a good friend for yourself. Perry, stop stepping on the computer. Have you ever seen her sit and watch anything for this long? She is transfixed. She's like, kittens. I had kittens once. It's much more fun to just watch them than have to actually take care of them. Dr. Phil with hair and compassion. Where's the lie? Tell me where I lied. At least Christie's brothers got gas money, right? Lay down and listen to the stream as fall asleep. Do it. Be a better friend for yourself. So long as you still make sure I'm your first priority, right? Stop. This is so cute. I have to take a picture. Hang on. I gotta post that on the Discord server. That is absolutely adorable. I know I'm losing my grip on reality. Reality. I always do you guys remember Mythbusters, where Adam Savage used to always say, I reject your reality and substitute my own in the beginning of every episode? Noon on Saturday, 6/13. I would like to point out that this has been 1 week of time. The girl with no problems is the one that's talking the most. I guess because she's not actually having to deal with any real problems. Last night and this morning, Dad and I painted the spare bedroom. It is now officially known as the nursery. The nursery is across the hall from Dad and Carol's room. Carol supervised us from her bed while we worked. We painted the walls a pale, pale yellow and the trim bright white. The room glows. This afternoon, the baby furniture is being delivered. It's all white. The rocker cushions and curtains are blue and white checkered. So you guys know how much I love Winnie the Pooh. It's like most people, I think it's been a lifelong thing because like one of my first books was Winnie the Pooh. But it's more than that because when I was born, my mom, she's a really great artist and she painted in the nursery. She painted a whole Winnie the Pooh mural because partially she was like, that's yellow and very gender neutral. And she was able to start working on it before she knew what she was having. So since then, I've always had a lifelong love of Winnie the Pooh. Ooh, nice yellow. I love me a gender neutral baby room. I could be wrong, but I think back because like it was like what the 40s or 50s when the blue for boy, pink for girls thing came about. I think back before then, yellow was considered a feminine like girl's color, which is wild to me because it's yellow. I guess it's another thing of like, yeah, gender really is like the whole like gender assignment of colors and stuff is so silly because it's like I was reading something about how like Nancy Drew books when they first started coming out in the 30s, they made them yellow because that was more like it was marketing for girls. I just found that all very interesting. Perry, what's happening? They're all asleep, Perry. Can you lay down and be asleep and not cause any issues? I'm gonna be mad. What happened? Nobody would be mad if Dawn was changed to a better person. Previously, pink was a boy's color because it was a baby soft version of red worn by royalty and the color of blood for strong warriors. Interesting. And then yellow was for girls. That's fascinating to me. It just goes to show that there's no stock in any of that kind of thing. Yellow is just a great, like, yellow is my favorite color, but it's just a great gender neutral color. It's a great color for a nursery. The walls look bare, but Carol said as soon as she did it. Is that where I? Yes, that's where I left it. Curtains are blue and white checkered. The walls look bare, but Carol said as soon as she's on her feet, she'll pick out some artwork for them. We ordered pizza for lunch. I wish Carol could have her baby in the modern day, because then she would just get to go on Amazon and pick things out, and then the bed rest might not be so annoying. Not as annoying. We ordered pizza for lunch. I paid the delivery guy, then brought a tray with pizza and sodas to Dad and Carol. They didn't see me come in the room. Dad was lying across the bed with his head on Carol's belly. She was stroking his hair. He was humming a lullaby to Belly Baby. I felt like I was an intruder. I put the tray on the bureau and turned to leave. My dad saw me and sat up. Aren't you going to eat with us, Dawn? He asked. I better study for exams, I told him. I'll eat in my room. Call me when the furniture comes. So here I am, eating pizza and writing in my journal. I'm studying for my math final next. I miss studying with Sunny. We used to make snacks, lock ourselves in her room, and not leave until we thought we were ready for the test. We had fun and we got our work done. The new Sunny would never do anything like that. I miss the old Sunny. I wish she would come back. 6:13, fabulous news. Maggie's dad just gave her 3 tickets to the Flash concert, and she invited me and Amalia to go with her. We're sleeping over at Maggie's house afterwards. Maybe Maggie and I can become better friends. I love Flash. I'm going to get dressed now. Try to forget about Sunny, Belly Baby, exams, and Stony Brook, and have some fun, at least for one evening. Oh, because your life is so miserable, Dawn. Isn't technically aren't all babies belly babies, technically? Blue is for girls. It's the color of purity. Some cultures still use blue wedding dresses. Yes, Irish wedding dresses, if they're traditional weddings, will use like a light blue. It's actually a very pretty color for a wedding dress, I think. What I find fascinating is how a decade or a generation can completely alter your look. A person who is attractive could look bratty depending on the era, hairstyle, and clothing style. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, right? Because it's like, you know, people realized that when they made the Sex and the City reboot movie, or the newest movie, whatever you want to call it, those ladies were the same age as the Golden Girls when they started the Golden Girls, and they were like, so why do we think about the Golden Girls as being older? But and it's like, well, just like something as simple as like the way hairstyles have changed the way people wear their age. It's just really interesting. Oh, I wish you would go. I wish you would go away, Dawn. We all wish Dawn would go away. No, Perry, they're not behind the screen. They're not in the screen. They're just on the screen. Perry, please don't knock my holder onto the floor. I need that. Well, I don't need it, but I would like to hang on to it. Hi, Perry. Are you leaving? Or are you staying? Don't chew off my stickers, please. Jump! What is happening? What's happening? Okay. Might actually be able to see chat again, because God forbid Harry doesn't have her perfect spot to sit. There's fur everywhere now, Perry. Gross. I say knowing that literally everything in my home is covered with cat fur. Need to do more internet shopping mood. Yeah, it's really interesting. Okay. I was really worried she was gonna knock this drink over, and I was like, I cannot deal with another great spill. Emotionally, spiritually. At Maggie's after the concert, 6:13. What a night. The concert was fabulous, extraordinary, great. I'm so wound up I can't fall asleep. Even though there are about 1,000 rooms in this house, Amalia and I are sleeping in Maggie's room. Well, yeah, because it's a sleepover. It's no fun to not sleep in your friend's room if you're sleeping over. It's a sleepover after all. There you go. For once, Dawn and I are on the same page. Besides, Maggie's room is so big the whole 8th grade could stay there. At the moment, though, I'm in the living room, one of them, writing about what happened tonight. First of all, we met at Maggie's. My dad's still at work, and he has the tickets, Maggie explained, but Reg drove over to pick them up. He'll be back for us. Reg is the Bloom's new chauffeur. Oh yeah, if you don't know, Maggie's dad is a really powerful LA producer, and they are super wealthy. Like, all of these kids are pretty well off as far as their families go, more or less, but, like, Maggie's, like, mega wealthy. I should say hello to your mother, I told Maggie. She's by the pool. Before we went out to the pool, Pilar, I think that's how you say the name. I said it wrong in multiple ways last time. The Bloom's maid offered us fresh squeezed orange juice. Amalia and I both took a glass. Don't you want some? I asked Maggie. I just ate, she said. I'm full. Mrs. Bloom was sitting on a lounge chair next to another woman who turned out to be the actor Mel Rand's wife. Famous people are always hanging out at the Blooms', so I'm used to it. Amalia, who hasn't been around the Blooms that long, was very cool about meeting Mrs. Rand, which shows how cool she is. Mrs. Bloom loved my dress, borrowed from Carol's pre-maternity wardrobe, I must admit, and couldn't stop raving about Amalia's hair. I know a woman who spends $200 every 4 weeks to try to have color like that, she told us. Maggie had this frozen smile on her face. She always seems uncomfortable around her mom. And in her fancy house, it's like she's embarrassed by everything. Some kids at school think having a lot of money is a big deal. Maggie does not like this, which I can understand. It's 7:30, Maggie told us. We better go. You girls have some of the best seats in the house, Maggie's mother gushed. Just show your tickets and mention your father's name and you won't have to deal with the crowds. I wonder if Mrs. Bloom is one of those people who judge other people by how much money they have. Thanks, Mrs. Bloom, Amalia said. Says Dawn, who judges people by literally everything. See you later, I added. We headed back to the house. Have a ball, girls, Mrs. Bloom called after us, and Maggie asked Pilar to bring us out another pitcher of gin and tonics. Oh yeah, the mother has a drinking problem. Perry's trying to get out. Hang on. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Part of Maggie's plotline. Mary has decided she does not want to leave now that I am near the door and can let her out. Let's see. I saw Maggie flinch when her mother said that. I've noticed that Mrs. Bloom drinks a lot, even during the day. I wonder how much it bothers Maggie. Maggie hates being driven around in her dad's limousine, but I love it. Amalia seemed to be enjoying it too, but she didn't make a big deal about it. I think she knows how Maggie feels about things. Maggie hasn't actually talked to me about how she feels. That isn't Maggie's way, but it's pretty easy to figure out how she feels about the limo. For example, she asked Reg to drop us off 2 blocks from the stadium, which of course was because she didn't want anyone to see her get out of the limo. We didn't try to go in ahead of everybody else. I was glad. Half the fun of a concert is being part of the crowd going in, but I must admit it was great to have seats close to the stage. For 2.5 hours, I forgot about everything except the music. Reg met us where he dropped us off. The crowd from the concert had spilled out into the surrounding blocks, so we couldn't exactly hide the fact that we were getting into a limo. A pack of guys was staring at us. Uh-oh. One of them shouted, Take me with you. Aw, come on. Please, pretty please, added another. We'll be good. Right, shouted a third. Real good. We ignored them. As Reggie pulled the car away from the curb, Maggie mumbled, I hate that my dad makes us use his car. It must be hard, I said, glancing at Maggie, but she dropped the subject. Mrs. Blue... Oh, don't talk about complaining about things that aren't that bad, Dawn. Mrs. Bloom was waiting up for us. Or maybe she was waiting for Mr. Bloom, who still wasn't home from work. My father is on a new movie project, Maggie explained. Which one do we think is having an affair? Is it Maggie's dad? It must be Maggie's dad. He's always on a new movie project, Mrs. Bloom commented. She wanted to know all about the concert, but she didn't seem to listen to what we were saying. I think she had been drinking quite a bit. I kept the conversation rolling until Maggie suggested we get ready for bed. I might as well turn in too, Mrs. Bloom muttered. There's food for you girls in the kitchen. Pilar made a late supper for you. Perry? I don't hear anything anymore. It's too quiet out there. Amalia and I ate big helpings of Pilar's sesame noodles, tofu salad, and blueberry pie. Ooh. Pilar is a fabulous cook, but all Maggie had was a glass of water, about 4 strands of sesame noodles, and a few blueberries that she picked out of the pie. I ate before the concert, she said. Me too, I told her, but that was hours ago. I don't like to eat late, she said. End of subject. Maggie's father came home while we were eating. He wanted to know all about the concert and really paid attention to what we said. Amalia and I thanked him for the tickets. He turned to Maggie. When you're working in my office this summer, Rod Flash will be coming in. He's doing a number for the soundtrack for the new film. You'll meet him. I've already told him you're a musician. Hang on. Cat chaos is happening. Girls too. Dad, Maggie protested. He ignored her and kept talking. I'll ask him to tell you how he got started in the business and give you a couple of singing lessons. But Dad, said Maggie, I don't want lessons from him. I like Mrs. Knudsen. Mr. Bloom acted like he hadn't even heard what Maggie said. By the way, he went on, have your mother help you pick out some clothes to wear to the office. She knows what to do in that regard. He laughed. She should, with the credit card charges she makes. Ah, this is a healthy relationship. Dad, I have, Maggie started to say, but Mr. Bloom interrupted her again. I know, you can figure out what to wear all on your own. You're right. I trust your judgment, but don't hold back. Get whatever you want. You should look perfect for your first real job. She's 13. She's 13. Is that even, that's barely legal enough to work these days. He stood up and kissed her on the head. I'm looking forward to showing you the ropes, my chip off the old block. Maggie looked incredibly sad after he left. Amalia and I put our dishes in the sink and we all went to Maggie's room. We didn't stay up talking. Amalia fell asleep right away. Maggie stayed in the bathroom for a really long time. I noticed she took her journal with her and I heard her humming quietly to herself, some soulful tune. I figured she was writing a song. When she came out, I whispered, "Did you write a new song?" She nodded. Sing it for me. I'd love to hear it. It needs some more work. Do you want to talk about what happened tonight? I asked. In the kitchen? What about it? You didn't seem very excited about working in your father's office. Oh, that, Maggie said. I'm not really interested in the film business. Maybe you could tell him that, I said. It's no big deal. I'd rather not talk about it. She got into bed. Sweet dreams. Night, Maggie, I whispered. I'm hurt that Maggie won't open up to me. Not surprised, really, but still hurt. Sure, I was closer to Sunny than I was to Maggie, but with Sunny out of the picture, I thought Maggie and I would become closer friends. Now that I think about it, Sunny and I were always much closer to each other than to Maggie. I can't remember that Maggie ever opened up to any of us. I'm beginning to think that Maggie isn't very close to anyone, even Amalia. Now I can't sleep. All the things that were bothering me before the concert have come back one by one. I'm going to have to study for exams all day tomorrow. Finals start on Monday. I wish I could talk to Sunny about Maggie. I wish I could talk to Sunny about anything. It's so funny how Dawn's diaries are literally just about everybody else. One, because she doesn't have that many problems, and two, because she's way more codependent than the other 4 characters. I'll come back from her vacation. Well, no, because then the other girls back in Stony Brook are going to have to deal with her. Take here, but Golden is far better than Sex in the City. I agree, personally. Not that I've seen that much of Sex in the City, but Golden Girls is more my vibe. The old woman now reminds me of Judge Judy. Love the Golden Girls. Welcome back, Larry. Maggie's dad and Sunny's dad are having an affair with each other. Ooh. 3:33 a.m. here. Ooh. Cue Twilight Zone music. So Ghosts must know they're area specific? Or can they see when it's dark? I have no idea. I'm not that much of an expert. I tend to prefer the stories where ghosts are attached to people, not places. Dawn thinks that losing one friendship will strengthen another because they both involve her, but they aren't related. Maggie isn't going to confide in you because of a separate relationship you have, right? She's just gonna whine and bitch at Marianne the whole time she's in Stony Brook. Yes, she is. Poor Marianne. I swear Perry has it out for Mr. I almost called him Mr. Bean. Dragon Bean. Because she almost knocks him over every single time. See, all right. Wednesday, 6/17. What is wrong with me? Why am I so angry at Sunny? Here's what happened. I studied like crazy for my math final. I felt that I was ready. Well, I'm not ready, Maggie said, as we walked into our math classroom. My mother made me go shopping yesterday afternoon. I only studied for 4 hours. I didn't study for 4 hours, and I thought I'd studied a lot. I knew that Maggie would ace the math final, and I told her so. She still looked worried, but changed the subject by asking if I thought Sunny would show up for the exam. I told her I didn't know, but that even if Sunny did take the final exam, I didn't see how she could pass math, not with all the classes she's cut. We took our seats. I put out 2 sharp pencils, folded my hands, and waited for the exam to begin. If Sunny didn't take any of her finals, she'd fail the year. She'd have to repeat 8th grade. We wouldn't graduate from Vista together. Oh my god, I just realized. Dawn is the kid version of, oh, I'm blanking on her name. Hang on. Angela from The Office. Angela from The Office is just the grown-up version of Dawn. I thought about the plans we'd made for after high school graduation. We'd had been talking about them for years. First, we wanted to spend the summer in Europe. Then we'd go to some college, hopefully as roommates. I really believed we would do those things. They were our shared dreams. Well, they used to be. I turned my attention to Mrs. Whalen, who was giving her final instructions before passing out the exam. That's the moment Sunny walked in the room. As she passed me to go to her seat, we made eye contact. She smiled. It was a sarcastic smile, more like a smirk that said, "You didn't think I'd show up, and here I am." And I didn't know how to respond, so I looked down at my desk. Then I thought, did I read the wrong thing into Sunny's look? Maybe the smile wasn't meant to be sarcastic. Maybe she was reaching out to me. I decided that next time we passed each other, I'd be the first to smile. A real smile. I'd see how she responded. Sunny, why don't you just be a good person? Why does it matter what other people do? Sunny finished the exam early and left the room before I did. I thought about Sunny as I fiddled with my locker. Then I felt a tap on my shoulder. I turned around with a big smile on my face. There stood Jill. Hi, I said. Hi, said Jill. She was wearing a pink sweatshirt with a big picture of the head of a boxer dog on it. It read, I heart my boxer. Inwardly, I groaned. Sunny and I had given it to Jill for her 11th birthday. I sighed. Maybe I was acting childish by being so critical about how someone dresses. You think? How are you doing? Jill asked. Okay, I said. I couldn't believe Jill was talking to me. We'd barely spoken to each other in months. The math exam was hard, Jill commented. Yeah, I agreed. How's Carol? I mean, with the baby and everything. Isn't it time for it to be born? Maybe that was it. Jill wanted to know about Carol's pregnancy. Jill loves babies. I told her that Carol was due any day. That is so great, she gushed. You must be so excited. It is pretty exciting. There is no way Jill would understand that I was not thrilled about the baby. Still, I found that I didn't feel angry at Jill anymore. I actually felt a little sorry for her. She thinks I don't hang out with her anymore because of the Carol is pregnant incident, when it is about so much more than that. I felt a little guilty about how I'd been treating her lately. I guess that's why I found myself inviting her out for a soda. Sure, said Jill with a giggle. Jill's so forgiving. I wouldn't be this forgiving. Look at the baby kitten by himself. Look at him. He's just like, I'm wedged in the corner by myself. No, nothing to see here. I still have no idea where the white one is. Probably somewhere with Mom. Sorry, this is me giving kitten updates. Sure, said Jill with a giggle. We walked out of school together. So, how's Carol feeling and everything? She must be big, said Jill. I told her that Carol was bedridden. Next, Jill said she'd heard about the fire. No wonder you're angry at Sunny, she continued. I wouldn't talk to her either. Jill... I told her it was more complicated than that, but didn't try to explain. Jill said, I know what you mean. Sunny's acting so wild and hangs out with all these older guys. Do those guys go to her house? Jill's eyes were sparkling. I told her I didn't spy on Sunny and changed the subject by asking about Jill's day. Dogs. Spike, Shakespeare, and Smee. Wonderful names for dogs. Especially Shakespeare and Smee. Battery is low, huh? Yeah, she definitely spies on Sunny. Unfortunately, none of them are as cute as the boxer on Jill's shirt, but she loves them and can talk about them endlessly, which she did. While we had sodas, I told Jill some of the names Carol and my dad were considering for the baby. I also told her they didn't want to find out the sex. I think that's cute, Jill gushed. I wouldn't want to know either. So, like, Jill shows how, so like Jill, but I didn't mind that much. I guess that shows how desperate I am for a friend. Jesus Christ, she's such a bitch. I wonder if I'll ever have a best friend again. You don't deserve a best friend. I can't believe how fast the time flies. I've been sitting on this park bench for an hour, writing in my journal. I better go home and help entertain Carol. Oh my god. What did I miss in chat? Mom's back. Angela is somewhat likable. You know what? She does have a couple redeeming qualities. Little similar game called 2 Point Hospital, and one of my patients currently is named De La Creme, and it gave me Model Land flashbacks. Wait, that's actually the name? I thought you were gonna say, like, you named them, like, to be funny. That's, oh my god. You're like, no, it never ends. Maggie in gloves, and I just want to hug her and be like her counselor or something. Yeah, Maggie's really going through it. Maggie needs a hug. Everybody needs a hug except for Dawn. Just helped Bryn finish her book. And she made a 100. Both nieces made a 100. Tell Bryn congratulations too. White kitten's gone rogue. The white kitten is the explorer for sure. Look, Mama absolutely knows where the camera is. 4 hours studying a subject she'll do well in is going to wreck her by the end of freshman year. Oh, yeah. She's using Jill as a spare friend, like a spare tire. Poor Jill. Can Jill have her own spin-off series? Because I absolutely would read that. Poor Jill. You don't deserve life. You think you deserve friends? Like, this is a midterm? Why are those kids doing in their 8th grade math class? I don't think it's a... They did say midterms, didn't they? But that doesn't make sense because it's June. I'm super confused. No, it's finals, it looks like. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. In college. I meant Maggie in college, not closet. Copy. It said finals. Yeah, it has to be finals because it's June. But yeah, either way, I don't know. Good night. I've left the like. Thank you. Thank you for hanging out with us. Thanks for the reading tonight. It was fun. Thank you for hanging out. We appreciate you. See you next time. You'll see what this leads to in Mary Ann and the playground fight. So Mary Ann and the playground fight takes place after this book, but Mary Ann, the one where she brings Sunny home, takes place after the whole series, right? Bye. Correct. Okay. Just wanted to make sure I got that. Did I read that right? Wednesday evening, 6:17. What a day. When I got home, I had an eerie feeling something was wrong. It was too quiet. No music or television sounds coming from Carol's room. No video game sounds from the living room. No Mrs. Bruin calling from the kitchen. Is that you, Dawn? I ran to Carol's room. The bed was empty and unmade. I knew that Mrs. Bruin wouldn't leave a room looking like that unless it was an emergency. I thought Carol must be at the hospital. I should look for a note. I flew down the stairs and into the kitchen. There was a note, all right. Baby on the way. We've called the ambulance. We're going to the hospital. Your father will meet us there. Mrs. B. I was excited and nervous. The baby was being born, maybe right this minute, but Carol was going to the hospital in an ambulance. What was wrong? I wanted to be at the hospital with everyone else. I had to know what was happening. I would go crazy if I waited at home alone. I looked at the window toward Sunny's house. Mr. Winslow's car wasn't there. I thought, Ducky, I'll call him. But Ducky wasn't home. I had to get to the hospital fast. The only person I could think to call was Maggie. Luckily, she was home. This is so exciting, she yelled. You have to go to the hospital. Reg and I will pick you up in 15 minutes. 25 minutes later, we pulled up in front of the hospital. Reg told Maggie that her father didn't need him until 10 o'clock, that he would wait for us in the parking lot. I knew my way around the hospital from all my visits to Mrs. Winslow, so I led the way to the maternity wing on the 3rd floor. Do you know your way around enough to know where the maternity wing is? If you're... the cancer wing has got to be a different wing. Maybe I just haven't spent enough time in hospitals. As we passed the nursery window, I looked in. The newborns were lined up in rows of little cribs. 2 were in incubators. Was one of them my half-brother or half-sister? We're looking for Carol Olson, I told an attendant standing at the nursing station. Her family is in the waiting room at the end of the hall, she said. My heart was pounding. It was hard not to run down the hall. Mrs. Bruin and Jeff were the only ones in the waiting room. Mrs. Bruin was pacing back and forth. Jeff was looking out the window. What happened? I asked. Are they okay? Everything seems to be going according to schedule, said Mrs. Bruin. Poor thing, all she must be going through. I hadn't thought that much about the actual birth of the baby, that it was going to be difficult for Carol. Of course she didn't think about it. Of course it has nothing to do with her, so why would she? Mrs. Bruin put her hand on my shoulder, but don't worry, Dawn. Carol will be fine, and so will the baby. You came in Maggie's limo, didn't you? Jeff asked. He pointed to the parking lot. That's it down there. Can I go for a ride? He begged. Can I, Maggie? Not now, Jeff, Maggie told him. Where's Dad? I asked. With Carol, of course, Mrs. Bruin said. Of course. Yeah, of course. You know how pissed I'd be if my husband wasn't with me? If I'm giving birth? Midterms was a question. Finals is slightly more reasonable than, like, a regular test. Okay, I think I'm caught up. Wondering, yeah, I had during my lunch break. Yay! Good for you, Laser. Oncology would not likely be even the same floor as obstetrics. Especially in, like, LA or Southern California. I know they're not technically in LA. Look! Look! The little other baby's on the other side of the wall! Just chilling! Yeah, unless they're near each other, it's a really tiny hospital, or it's a really tiny hospital. I would think she wouldn't know where. I wouldn't think she'd know where it was. Yeah. We hung out in the waiting room for 2 hours. Mrs. Bruin and Jeff worked on a jigsaw puzzle of a sailboat that some other nervous family had started. Maggie and I reviewed biology. Maggie had been smart enough to bring her books along, but it was hard to study and worry about Carol and the baby at the same time. I did my share of pacing. Finally, my father came bursting into the waiting room. He was beaming. It's a girl, he said as he, in a choked voice, his eyes gleamed. I've never seen him look so happy. She's beautiful. She's fine. Carol, too. They came through with flying colors. Tears spilled down his cheeks. I have never seen my father so happy that he cried. Never. Not even the day he and Carol were married. A girl? Jeff exclaimed. I thought it was going to be a boy. I didn't think of any girl names. Dad tousled Jeff's hair and wrapped us both in a big hug. I cried too, but my tears of happiness were for Dad, not for myself. Dad suggested that the rest of us go home and have some dinner while Carol and the baby rested. Then we should come back to the hospital in a couple of hours. I want you to meet your sister, he said. Half-sister, I thought. Can I go with Maggie in the limo? Jeff said. Jeff asked anyone who would listen. Can I? Mrs. Bruin said Jeff and I could both go with Maggie, and that she would meet us at home. For the moment, Jeff was more excited about the limo than he was about our baby half-sister. No name. Baby half-sister, no name. After Maggie dropped us off, I came up here to my room to write. I can see Sonny's bedroom window from my desk. It is so weird not to call her with the news. I guess Dad will tell Mr. Winslow, and he'll tell Sonny. Weird and sad. And then whose fault is that? An elevator between them, she'd have some idea, but I can't see Dawn actually paying enough attention to notice, right? Good Lord. Oh, poor Mama. All the babies are hungry. Most of them. 5 of them. The one's sleeping and one's playing with the lights. I hope he doesn't electrocute himself. Girl, you could just call her, right? I can't wait to see Dawn feel overshadowed by her new baby sister. Me too. It's gonna be great. Oh my gosh. I always wanted a baby sister. There was a point in time where I was like, I was like hopeful that my mom and dad would have a third baby and that it would be a sister. But I love my brother, and I have my cousin who is basically my sister. So, I mean, I remember feeling displaced by my baby sister when I was 7, lol, right? She's going into high school. You'd think it wouldn't really matter that much, right? No one is stopping you. No one is stopping her. I love problems that can be fixed by people just talking to each other. 11 p.m., 6:17. We rushed through dinner so we could go right back to the hospital. I brought Carol her Discman and some of her favorite CDs. Ah, the Discman. Remember that? Mrs. Bruin picked flowers from the garden for her, and Jeff remembered to bring the baby name book so we could pick out a girl's name. As we walked through the maternity floor, we stopped to look in at the newborns. Now one of them would be baby Schafer Olsen. We read all of the names, even the ones on the incubators. None said Schafer Olsen. Mrs. Bruin and I exchanged a worried glance. Uh-oh. Had something happened to the baby? Schafer Olsen? Had something happened to baby Schafer Olsen? We rushed into room 307. There, lying in Carol's arms, was the baby we were looking for. Hi, I whispered to Carol and Dad. You don't have to whisper, Dad said in a loud, happy... You don't have to whisper, Dad said in a loud, happy voice. We want her to get used to noise. Come over and see her, Carol said. Carol looked tired, but so very happy. I looked down at the sweetest infant I'd ever seen. Dad put his arm around me. You know what, Sunshine? He asked. Dad hadn't called me that in so long. The tone of his voice was warm and familiar. It was the voice he used to tell me bedtime stories when I was little, and that he used to comfort me when I was sad. I suppose he'll use that voice with his new daughter. It's her turn to have bedtime stories, and a dad who makes up a terrific nickname for her. Hearing Dad call me Sunshine reminded me of Sunny, too. The fact that my nickname was Sunny's real name was the great coincidence of our friendship. Not many people are named Sunshine. We decided that this was a sign that we were supposed to be best friends forever. I missed being Dad's sunshine, and I missed Sunny. I felt a knot rise up in my throat, as if I was going to cry. I swallowed and said, What, Dad? Your sister looks just like you did. But I looked at Carol. It was Carol's baby. Shouldn't she look like Carol? That's not exactly how genetics work, but you know what? Honestly, girls usually look like their dads more often than not, so yeah, it kind of makes sense that they would look alike. I've got to plug in my phone. She does look like you, said Carol. I've seen your baby pictures, Dawn. Isn't it wonderful? I am amazed that Carol doesn't mind that her baby looks like me. She lifted the baby and held her out to me. Here. I took my half-sister and cradled her carefully in the crook of my left arm. Other newborns I've seen looked scrunched up and like old men, but not this baby. She has smooth, soft, pink skin, and her lips are a perfect tulip shape. She's so little, Jeff exclaimed. I thought she'd be bigger. Are boys bigger? My father laughed. No, he said, and Elizabeth Grace is 8 pounds, 2 ounces, which is a very respectable weight for a girl or a boy. Elizabeth! Aha! My middle name's Elizabeth. I have a special place for the name Elizabeth. I feel like I've won something over Dawn. Elizabeth Grace, Jeff cried. He threw the Name Your Baby book down on Carol's bed and pouted. You went ahead and named her without me? I'm sorry, Jeff, Dad said, but it just came to us. We were looking at her and I said, let's call her Elizabeth. And I was thinking what a grace it was that she's finally here, Carol said. That she's my special Grace. We put them together and came up with Elizabeth Grace. You can give her a nickname, Dad said. Dad told Jeff. Like Liz, maybe, Carol suggested, or Lizzie. Personally, I like the old-timey nickname Queenie. This is what my dad calls me because my middle name is Elizabeth. If I name a kid Elizabeth, I think Queenie is a lovely thing to go by. Jeff thought for a few seconds. I'm going to call her Grace, he announced. That's my name for her. Or I'm going to call her Gracie, he announced. That's my name for her. Gracie, Carol and Dad said in unison. My dad looked at me and I nodded. I thought Gracie was a perfect nickname for Elizabeth Grace. I like it, said Dad. Me too, Carol added. She is so lovely, Carol, Mrs. Bruin said. Now, wasn't it worth all those months in bed? Yes, it was, Carol said. You were right. I felt as if I were dreaming. I couldn't take my eyes off the peaceful infant in my arms. Elizabeth Grace, I whispered, happy birthday. Then we all sang, It is raining like a bitch outside. It's raining like a dawn outside. Oh no, I don't want to start that. Somebody's going to come into the community named Dawn and they're going to feel called out. Look at all the babies. Ellie, Eli, Eliza, Liz, Liza, Lizzie, Lisa, Beth, Betty, Lizbeth, Libby is also a good one. Lizard, Star, Vandenhout. Oh my god, can you imagine? My middle name too. Libby is another nice nickname. Yeah, I don't know what it is about Elizabeth. Elizabeth always gets used as middle names. It's like people don't want to commit to it, but it's like, it's a good name. Then we all sang happy birthday to the newest member of our family. I'm too tired to study for my finals. I have all day tomorrow to study. I'll go to the hospital too. I want to visit Mrs. Winslow. When I'm there, I promise to tell her all about the baby after she was born. There's also something else I want to do with Mrs. Winslow. I hope it works. Oh dear. I always forget Libby is short for Elizabeth because the only Libby I ever knew is short for Liberty. Ooh, Liberty. That's cool. Why'd I suggest lizard? I like lizard. Lizard star abandoned. I like it. Lizard. Well, I like that Adriel put out, or I'm sorry, I like that Milo put out Eli, because I know somebody who went by Eli because they're not a very, like, femme person, but their birth name is Elizabeth, and I just always thought that was cool. Like, Eli. That works. I like it. Digital tuner. I still collect CDs. I had a Discman for a while, but like it was the one that you were supposed to jog with, which never worked because when you jogged with it, they would always skip. I did have like a tape deck type thing that I loved. I said I brought the frog. He's like, this isn't a valid address. Can you send us the proper shipping address? Me, girl, this is the shipping address. What the fuck does my house no longer exist? I had Discman, one of those like CD organizers with the flippy pages. I had one of those too. My older sister and the other half were Disney Channel or religious music. Oof, sounds like we had a very similar childhood. Although I was the oldest, so it was more like I had cassette tapes and CDs made by my parents of like 80s music that I would always listen to, and then the rest was Disney and religious music. I have 3 brothers. I know, I love my brother. Always wanted a sister, but again, my cousin, basically, I grew up thinking of her as my sister, so. Displaced by my baby sister. Man, and then one day I lost. Yeah, it said skip protection on the front of the Discman, but it did nothing. It did nothing. That was the biggest lie. I went trust drawn was within 6 feet of a baby. I know. Anytime anybody in my life has handed me a baby, I have panicked because I am so clumsy and I drop everything. I'm just like, don't drop the baby. Don't drop the baby. Discman, you meant the guy that comes to your house selling illegally downloaded movies. Was that just a Belfast thing? I mean, I didn't necessarily have that. That sounds like a wonderful experience, but I did have kind of like we did have at my old Sunday school in middle school youth group, we had like this kind of underground illegal CD piracy ring going on because we would all like be like, I have the new Miley Cyrus Breakout album. Cool, I have Selena Gomez. Which album was that? I guess it was just her self-titled. And then they're like, let's switch them, and then we can burn them to our computers, and then burn them to other discs, and then give them back, and our parents will never know. And no one knew. No, none of the adults knew that this was going on. But we were fighting capitalism at an early age. I had my Harry Potter audiobooks in it. I had a lot of books on audiobook, like on cassette. Someone on Jeopardy said they had a hobby of collecting obsolete media like DVDs. DVDs aren't obsolete, though, yet apparently people find this an odd hobby. Interesting. Very interesting. Wait till they see my my vinyl collection. They won't know what to do. Sent you a book I found that is the first series, main series Street series by Anne M. Martin. Interesting. Main Street series doesn't have any connection to BSC, right? It's completely different. I've always wanted to read them. Exactly, but my dad got pirated video games for some dude he worked with at Safeway back in the 90s, 2000s, as you should. For capitalism. Mm-hmm. Almost 30 and still collecting VHS. I mean, yeah, it's one of those things, right? I have found some pretty interesting VHS, and I'm like, I kind of want to get a VHS player now and just like have it to like watch old stuff on. That'd be kind of a vibe. Right, they're not the Babysitters Club. So we have we are protected from a wild Dawn showing up. That's wonderful. What if because we're going to read Animorphs book 4 tomorrow night. God help us with that trauma. What if we try for like, I was going to say we could try to read Babysitter's Club on Saturday. I think I might have Gabe coming over, but we might, maybe Gabe could read it with us. The playground fight. If not, we'll do it Sunday, but we'll do that one soon since it's linear to this one. Nothing is truly obsolete. True. I'm trying to digitize mine. All our Dreamcast games were just generic discs with the titles written in marker. LOL. Yeah. Some audiobooks on cassette when I was younger. I loved them, but I haven't been able to find them in any other form. Oh, that's disappointing. I Love Lucy video and then copied it for me when I was little. My grandmother used to rent DVDs from Blockbuster and then copy them. We had so many DVDs that were just exactly what Mila said, plain with the marker to write on it. Very funny. Sorry, I'm not leaving anybody on ShareStream. I'm just trying to plug this in so that my phone doesn't die. Something I should have done an hour and a half ago, but I didn't because I was yelling at Dawn for being such a Dawn. There we go. I don't need to go to channel. It's my channel. I just wanted to plug in my phone. I thought I had the... I will check. I'm reorganizing my books because I've got some extra shelves, and so I'll let you know. Oh, mama. Oh, babies. Base grandma. Oh, yeah. My grandma's super based. I used to do that too, right? I think there's a cassette player at my parents' that I used a few years ago to an old Yiddish lullaby cassettes, which I also can't find a newer form of thing. I'm happy to keep an eye out for anything. If you guys ever find anything that you're like looking for and you're like, I just can't find this, feel free to post about it in the solve a mystery in the study under the like, did I just dream this or was this an actual thing or whatever that is? Because I do honestly find a lot of random stuff sometimes, and then people will be like, oh, this thing, and I'm like, oh, I wish I had known that when I saw it. So I'll keep an eye out. Oh, that's cute. That sounds lovely. Babysitters on board. Or they go on a cruise. That will be fun. Website. We need your shipping address. Me. I gave it. Now give me my child. Stop holding my child hostage. All right. We are almost done with this book. It was hard to study this morning. Dad was calling all our friends and relatives. This is afternoon of 6/18. Did I say that? I think I'm genuinely just losing my mind. Dad was calling all our friends and relatives to tell them about Elizabeth Grace. A lot of them wanted to talk to me. I guess they were worried that I'd be jealous, which is pretty weird since I'm 13 years old. You do tend to get jealous, Dawn. They know you pretty well. When Dad wasn't on the phone, it was ringing with congratulations from people who had heard about the baby from the people he had called. Around noon, Dad and I drove to the hospital together. After I see Carol and Gracie, he said, I have to drop in at the office for a couple of hours. Mrs. Bruin is coming over this afternoon. She can give you a ride home. Perfect, I said. I want to have time to visit Mrs. Winslow, too. Dad was going straight to maternity on the 3rd floor, but I got off the elevator at the cancer care unit on the 2nd floor. There were no excited fathers on the 2nd floor, no glowing mothers, no newborns. I walked down the hall past rooms of very sick and dying people. A shiver went down my spine, and I felt overwhelmingly sad. On this floor, people were fighting for their lives. Some of them would die. Their loved ones were helping them leave the world. On the 3rd floor, infants were being helped into the world. I took a deep breath, put a smile on my face, and walked into Mrs. Winslow's room. She was sitting up in a chair, looking out the window. Hi, I said softly. She turned to me. 2 little tubes came out of her nostrils and were connected to an oxygen tank. Dawn, she said. Hi. At first I thought you were Sunny. I have good news, I told her. The baby? I nodded. Then I sat at the edge of the bed and told her everything. I realized that Mr. Winslow had told her Gracie had been born, but still she wanted to know every one of my details. I love newborns, she told me. I always wanted more children. There was one miscarriage after Sunny, then no more. Then no more pregnancies, she smiled. I was very blessed to have Sunny. I thought angrily that Sunny wasn't much of a blessing to anyone these days, but Jesus, Dawn. But I pushed the thought away. I didn't want any negative energy in Mrs. Winslow's room. Mrs. Winslow reached over and patted my hand. Tell me again what the baby looks like. The skin on Mrs. Winslow's hand and arm was transparent and wrinkled. She was very thin. I thought of the expression skin and bones. Okay, I said, but I think I can do better than that. I want to take you to see her. For an instant, Mrs. Winslow looked excited by the idea. Then a cloud passed over her face. Oh, I can't go, she said. I bet the nurses would let you. It'll be so depressing for Carol and everyone. I mean, it's such a happy time for them. They don't want to see me. My heart ached for Mrs. Winslow. She was worried about everyone but herself. Don't say that, I said. Don't even think it. I want you to see Gracie. And you said yourself that you love newborns. I stood up. Let me at least ask the nurses, okay? A big smile erupted on Mrs. Winslow's face. A familiar twinkle came into her eye. Dawn, I can't think of anything I'd rather do today than meet Elizabeth Grace Schafer Olson, she said. Her face was beautiful. She was beautiful. I thought, a person's beauty is deep inside. It's even deeper than good health. We got permission right away from a nurse who hurried off to find a wheelchair. I helped Mrs. Winslow get ready for our visit. She put on the bright blue silk robe Mr. Winslow and Sunny had given her for her birthday in April. She ran her hand over the shiny fabric. Isn't it beautiful? She asked. I love wonderful fabrics. She was practically bald from the chemotherapy, so she decided to cover her head with a scarf. She picked out a pink and yellow striped one from the stack of scarves she'd brought with her to the hospital. She wrapped it around her head, and I tied it in a fancy knot at the nape of her neck. Next, she dabbed some powder on her cheeks. I held up her air tubes while she applied some pink lipstick. Finally, I helped her into the wheelchair. Ready? I said. Ready, she answered. She smiled up at me. Thank you, Dawn. I wheeled Mrs. Winslow onto the elevator, and we took the short ride to the 3rd floor. We stopped at the nursery window. Baby Schafer Olson was in the 1st row, asleep with her fists on her chest. I pointed. There she is. After a few seconds, Mrs. Winslow whispered, She's perfect. Just perfect. Isn't she? Said a male voice. I looked up. It was my dad. He leaned over and kissed Mrs. Winslow on the cheek. Isn't this something, Betsy? He asked. Mrs. Winslow had tears in her eyes. Happy tears. Yes, it is, she said. Something very wonderful. Congratulations. Carol's sleeping, he said. That's why they put the baby back here. While Dad and Mrs. Winslow talked, I signaled to the maternity nurse. I explained to her that Mrs. Winslow was a patient on the 2nd floor and a close friend of our family. Could she hold my sister? I asked. I don't see why not, said the nurse. Wheel your friend over here to the door, and I'll get the baby. After Dad left, I told Mrs. Winslow, You can hold her. Really? I nodded. I'd love that, she said. I wheeled Mrs. Winslow to the doorway, and the nurse handed me Elizabeth Grace, and I put her in Mrs. Winslow's arms. Oh, look at her, she said softly. How precious. She took Elizabeth Grace's fist gently. She took Elizabeth Grace's fist, gently opened it, and put her thin finger in the tiny palm of the baby's hand. God. This one's rough, you guys. That one-day-old hand closed around Mrs. Winslow's finger. Give me a second, guys. I mean, they should have asked Carol. They should have asked Carol, but still, I don't think Carol would have minded. I'm hating Dawn hours. Like, I'm glad she got permission. He was going full Ashley Burton. What with the crying? That's not unheard of. Christy, he did, yeah. What are you doing? So you get hit in the head and get amnesia and become a better person? Want to yeet Dawn into the fucking sun? Can Dawn chill? Every medical drama, right? You just summed up episode 1 of every medical drama. Yes, she did. Put it on Discord. You might like the books if you can find them, actually. They're pretty short. I think they'd be good for streaming. I will definitely look for them. They sound delightful. Snow White, stay calm, everyone. We're all gonna die. I'm sure there are others, but I don't want to listen to. UER. Oh, God. Honestly, you keep it together better. Thank you. One of my... Oh my God. It's still like one of my most embarrassing moments to this day. I was wrapping off of this film set that I worked on, and I loved it there. We worked for months, and everybody was really sweet, and it was just a really good experience. And so on our last day of filming, we're all emotional, right? Because it's like all these people, you know, most of them are going back to LA or Boston or whatever, and so I was just really sad. And then my coworker decides to give me this letter that I still have, and it's like this handwritten letter about how, like, she's so glad that we got picked together, and like she will be friends forever and all this. I just started sobbing, and as I started sobbing, they're like, second team, Avery, do the close-up. And so I'm sobbing, and I'm sitting there, and they're trying to do a close-up of me. And I'm aware that not only are all of these people looking at the girl who's crying and wondering what the hell is happening, but I'm on camera, and everybody else looking at the monitors is also wondering what is happening. So I will eventually. It's been very, very crazy. I'm so sorry. Shouldn't touch a baby without asking the mother. I agree with you. No, I totally agree with you. Especially because babies, well, both the baby and Sunny's mom both probably have like no immune system. One being a newborn, one being in chemotherapy. So like I just worry about the health of both of them too, you know? There was a sticker on the book, sorry. Okay. Okay, sorry. Let's see if I can finish this chapter without crying more. Hello, my little namesake, Mrs. Winslow said. That's when I realized it. Mrs. Winslow's name, Betsy, was a nickname for Elizabeth. I don't think my dad had named Elizabeth after Mrs. Winslow, not consciously anyway, but I was so glad that was the baby's name. I felt incredibly happy and sad at the same time. Happy that my sister would go through her life with Elizabeth Winslow's name, and sad that Elizabeth Winslow wouldn't see her namesake and newest neighbor grow up. I squatted beside the wheelchair and whispered to Mrs. Winslow, I love you. She smiled at me. I love you, Dawn. You're like a second daughter to me. Thank you so much for bringing me up here. Thank you, I said. I should go back to my room. I need to lie down. I took Elizabeth Grace from Elizabeth Winslow and gave the baby back to the nurse. Then I wheeled Mrs. Winslow to the elevator and to her room on the second floor. I need a tissue. Almost out of tissue. No. Oh my gosh. Final school talent show. Elementary school. I played the piano every year, and in 5th grade it hit me. This was the last talent show to be part of. Oh, that's adorable. Oh my god. Glasses off for a second. Whoa. Any glasses wearers, you ever just like get used to being able to see with your glasses on and you take them off and you're like, oh, I forgot I'm real struggling here. This one, that's the bad one for me. Look at the kittens! Look at them! The kitties! Look at this one just sacked out over here in the middle. Oh, you can always tell. I get very red because I'm so pale, but it's my nose specifically that gets very red very fast. And I'm just like, why? I can't even look cute when I'm crying like a soap opera star. Sonny's first diary I couldn't take because it made me think of my dad. I'm sorry, Patrick. Feel free to step away if you don't feel, comfortable. I felt so bad. I thought I had put a trigger warning on the Beauty and the Beast video, and I forgot. And so then I got a comment that was like, this should have a trigger warning. And I was like, oh, shit. So I, like, put one all in caps at the beginning of the description, pinned a comment, and linked, had a card that just links to the Metal Gear Solid whoop sound effect that says, like, what all the triggers are. I'm trying to figure out why my screen was fuzzy the other day. Then I realized I wasn't wearing my glasses and was using my worst eye. Oh, I've been there. Friday morning, 6:19. I'm waiting for the biology exam to begin. English final this afternoon. I hope I can concentrate enough to finish. I couldn't believe what my friends did for me today. It started when Jill met me outside school. She'd been waiting for me. I heard about the baby, she said excitedly. She said how glad she was that it was a girl and handed me a box wrapped in pink foil with a huge silver ribbon. Open it, she said. I did. Gracie's present was a stuffed dog, a boxer. I thought it was sweet that Jill had gone to all the trouble when we barely saw each other anymore. I told her about Elizabeth Grace as we walked into school. Our lockers are in different halls, so we separated in the main lobby. But first, Jill gave me a hug and congratulated me again. When I reached my locker, I had an even bigger surprise. My friends had posted a sign on the door that said, "It's a little sister." A dozen pink helium balloons were tied to my locker handle with pearly, purple, and silver ribbons. Loads of people gathered around my locker and asked questions. I didn't even care that the Cro-Mags who walked by yelled out dumb things like, "She didn't look pregnant to me." Ducky, Maggie, and Amalia had presents for Elizabeth Grace, too. Ducky gave her the t-shirt we'd seen at Baby Boutique. Oh, the orange one that said, "I'm here." Maggie gave her a beautiful mobile of a brightly colored fish. "I know she'll be a water baby like you," she explained. Oh. I just had I had just opened. Someone quick, figure out when what the baby zodiac sign is. I had just opened Maggie's present when Sunny sauntered by, arm in arm with some hunk from the senior class. Leo, right? It should be a Leo. No. No, Leo would be July. Yeah, let me check about the Sunny thing. Yup. So real. Yeah, that is really real. Tammy, either Gemini or Cancer. Sonny, what have we said about freshmen and seniors? Then I gave Dawn a card with a drawing of a girl on fire with the caption, Dawn burns her in hell. God. I had just opened Maggie's present when Sonny sauntered by, arm in arm with some hunk from the senior class when they passed my locker. She didn't even look at me. I tried to forget about Sonny and concentrate on the gift Amalia handed me, but I couldn't. Sonny had just passed up the perfect opportunity to mend our friendship. You do something! All she had to do was give me a friendly look. I wasn't expecting presents, just a smile. I would have smiled back. You do it first! I need to know now when the baby was born. Okay, so the baby was born on June 17th. Gemini! Yay! Gemini! Shout out to the Geminis. Probably Gemini school would be let out by Cancer season. Yeah. Yep, they're in 8th grade. Well, they're graduating from 8th grade, so they're about to be freshmen. So yes. It's not even like if one of them dated Ducky, that would almost be more, because they're only 2 years apart, 2.5, and like he has a lot in common with them. Like Sonny's just out here being an 8th grader hanging out with seniors, and it's just like, Sonny, my girl. It could have been the beginning of the end of our fight. Maggie tugged on my sleeve. Open it, she said. I pulled off the rest of the wrapping paper and saw Amalia's gift, a cartoon she had drawn of me and a baby on surfboards. The baby is on a little surfboard and wearing nothing but a diaper. And the drawing of me actually looks like me. Amalia is so talented. I wonder if I will surf with Elizabeth someday. When she's 15, I'll be 28. Will Elizabeth's babysit for my children? Wow, that's so weird. That is a weird thought. No wonder I can't concentrate on finals. But I have 2 more to take starting right now. Mrs. Barkley just came in the room. Yeah, 8th grade does not count as freshman year. Ooh, that was my jaw. 8 through 12, but there was too much of a problem with grade 12 boys chasing after grade 8 girls. Oof. Yikes. Yikes, 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 yikes. All right, almost there. Friday evening, 6:19. Finals are finally over. I'm sure I passed everything, but I don't think my marks will be as high as first semester. I can't worry about it. I'm just glad tests are over and I can focus completely on all the other things that are on my mind, like getting organized to go to Stony Brook. I can't believe I'm leaving for the summer 2 days after Carol and Elizabeth come home. Then there's Maggie. I'm really worried about her more than ever. Here's what happened today. Another trigger warning. I know anybody who's here probably knows exactly what's coming, but I just feel like putting another warning because I can sense it. After finals, Amalia and Maggie met me at my highly decorated locker. Amalia suggested we go for pizza to celebrate the end of finals and the arrival of Gracie. We practically ran to the pizza parlor. It was mobbed. We found a small table in the back that was meant for 2 and fit an extra chair. I'm starving, I announced. I was too worried about the English final to eat much. Lunch? Me too, said Amalia. Maggie didn't say anything, but I know she had to be hungry too. All she ate at lunch was a small pile of lettuce and cucumbers from the salad bar with no dressing and one slice of avocado. When the waitress finally reached us, we ordered a big pie, half olives, Amalia's choice, and half artichoke hearts, which I know is a favorite of Maggie's. Amalia and I ordered regular colas. Maggie ordered a diet cola, of course. Isn't diet cola technically worse for you because of what's in it than just, like, not that any soda is good for you, but isn't diet, like, technically worse? You can just say yourself, Dawn. Maggie's next book is going to be a fairly tough read. Oh, I'm bracing myself. It's going to be very hard. Restaurants hate when you do, what, half and half pizza? Stony Brook for the summer! Could you make one of the artichoke slices without cheese, please? Maggie asked the waitress. The waitress made a notation on her pad and left. See, that's harder. That's even harder. I feel like half and half of toppings isn't that bad. Dawn never has regular soda. OMG. Amalia and I exchanged a glance. Amalia's expression showed me that she thought Maggie was being very weird about food too. Maggie, I said, pizza without cheese? You've never eaten it that way. Cheese is very fattening, Maggie said. And delicious, added Amalia. Plus, it belongs on pizza. It is a crime to want to lose a pound. Is it a crime to want to lose a pound or two? Maggie asked. She pointed across the room. Hey, look, there's Ducky and Alex. We're just finished recently here in Australia. Yeah, meanwhile, we're like warming up going into spring. Ooh, I need to start planting my garden. I'm very excited about that. Ducky and Alex had just walked through the door. Alex was hanging behind Ducky. Ducky turned to him and said something. Alex shook his head no. Then he turned and walked out. Ducky followed him. Poor Ducky. The end of the school year is supposed to be fun. Our pizza arrived. It was perfection. I read something somewhere that it's like pizza. The reason why pizza is so universally loved is because we're just kind of biologically prone to liking it because it's all of the things that our body wants. It's carbs, it's sugar in the tomato sauce, and it's no, when you put another chair at a two-person table. Ah, yes, that. Yeah. Yeah, it's carbs from the dough, it's sugar from the tomato sauce, and the cheese is fats. So, like, our bodies are just like, yes, all the things. I stopped drinking caffeinated soda. My school did 5th grade in the middle school building, kind of separate for dances and things. Electives. Amalie and I were in our second slices when I noticed that Maggie was only halfway through her cheeseless slice. I had a flashback of 4 little girls sitting in the same pizza parlor. Sunny and I sat on one side of the booth, Maggie and Jill on the other. We thought we were so grown up because we were there without any adults. We ordered an extra large pizza, double cheese. We were carefree and happy and sure that we would be friends forever. Maggie, remember the first time you, Jill, Sunny, and I were allowed to go for pizza alone? I said we thought we were so grown up. Maggie smiled faintly and nodded, but she was too busy taking a piece of cheese off the edge of her pizza slice to answer. Amalia and I finished our slices, and Maggie took 2 more small bites of hers. She stood up. I'll be right back. Amalia and I waited. Amalia and I watched her head for the bathroom. We didn't say anything at first, but after a few seconds, we broke the silence by both talking at once. You first, I said. I was just going to say that Maggie looks thin. I mean, I don't think she needs to lose any more weight. I was going to say the same thing. Maybe she has a favorite dress or something that she wants to fit into, suggested Amalia. Yeah, I said, maybe. I was thinking of Maggie always checking out her reflection in windows and mirrors, and how she used to love food and not worry about every little thing she put in her mouth. But all I said was, I'm glad Maggie is hanging out with you and the guys in the band. Me too. I really like her. Amalia lowered her voice. Here she comes. We watched Maggie head towards our table. I wonder if I should say something to Maggie about her weird eating habits. I'm realizing that Maggie is an intense person, always wanting everything to be perfect. Perfect grades, perfect music, perfect looks. Now she has this idea that to look perfect, she should be thinner, which is totally crazy. Poor Maggie. Why can't she just enjoy life? She has so much going on for her. She has so much going for her. Maybe I should try to talk to her about all this sometime when we're alone. But how can I do that and then disappear on her for the summer? I just remembered Maggie never finished that slice of cheeseless pizza. Poor Maggie. Yeah. I made a pizza today. It's the perfect food. It's such a good food. For a good amount of time. Dawn always has juice or like diet soda with Stacy. They share snacks. The diabetic and health conscious California hippie. Also, for a good amount of time, I thought I was lactose intolerant, so I had one piece place order without cheese. Let me tell you, you are not going to lose weight like that. Just enjoy normal pizza, right? I don't actually like pizza that much, but mostly it's because all the chain places have yucky tomato sauce. Ooh, yeah, the tomato sauce is everything. It makes or breaks the pizza. And you, Dawn, are the only reason you're not friends with Jill or Sunny anymore. Yup. Milo, yeah, chain pizza places suck. This is so sacrilegious. I like Domino's pizza. We got Domino's last week and I was happy about it. I know that's a very, not sophisticated take, but also we're not super picky about our pizza here in the South. We're more like picky about like fried chicken or barbecue. BC Society is telling Maggie not to at a young age, right? Yeah, society's telling Maggie that she can't enjoy things at a young age. It's not Maggie's fault. I actually thought about suggesting other Australian shows to Avery. I need to do more Australian stuff. It's an unprecedented amount of thinking about others for Dawn. I know, right? I like Domino's too, Avery. Okay, I'm not alone in this. Domino's is okay, especially if you live in the South. Now, New Jersey, it's different. That makes sense. Here in the South, like, honestly, I don't know what it is. We're more serious about at least Domino's. I don't really like Papa John's is mid. Most of the definitely Little Caesars is lower than mid, but Domino's is good. I like Domino's. I live in New England, so we have a real pizza. I know. Real pizza isn't really something that's you could not. I shouldn't say that. We do have like Fellini's and some good pizza places, but usually people just are cool with chains here. Northeast. I knew what you meant. I got it eventually. OMG, I had pizza in Pennsylvania. It was like the fucking worst. I don't know why that's so funny. I had pizza in Pennsylvania. It was the fucking worst. I'm so sorry. Sorry, Pennsylvania. Apparently you have bad pizza. Your mother make a fried onion hamburger? Not yet, but I have to show you. She sent me a picture. I'll put it on the cooking channel on the Discord. She sent me a picture. She had like 3 of the cookbooks that you sent like open on top of each other, and she was like planning the week of meals. Tell Patrick thanks, and I'm just like, I will. So my mother has all of those cookbooks and uses them liberally. Good job on cheesesteaks, Pennsylvania. Yeah, everybody has their thing, you know? All right. I'm leaving for Stony Brook in 3 days. What am I going to pack? It would be so much easier if I could just bring my whole room with me. I'll make a list. Rollerblades, paper making kit, and she crossed that out. book to read on plane, 3 pairs of jeans, blue, black, white. Oh, remember white jeans? Remember when that was a huge thing? Jeans, shorts, a zillion t-shirts, long sleeved and short sleeved. No, that's silly. I have clothes in Stony Brook after all. I can't do this anymore. I keep thinking about what I can't take to Stony Brook. Mainly people. Here's who I'll miss most this summer. Maggie, Sunny, Elizabeth Grace. The strange thing is that none of them will miss me. What did Maggie do to make you think she won't miss you? Elizabeth Grace is a baby, and Sunny has been perpetually bullied throughout this whole book. Maggie won't talk to me about what's really important. Sunny doesn't talk to me at all. Gracie can't talk and is too young to know who I am anyway. I'm going to miss watching Gracie's first 2 months on this planet. I already like her a lot better than I thought I would. And how can I make up with Sunny when she's 3,000 miles away? This is so unfair. Doorbell ringing, gotta go. Later, Friday, 6/19. What just happened is so weird. I have to write about it immediately. I didn't have any idea who could be ringing the bell. Since I was alone in the house, I said, "Who is it?" before opening the door. "Me," a familiar voice answered. Sunny. Sunny ringing our front doorbell? The same Sunny who always came around the kitchen door and walked right in? I opened the door. Sunny was standing there holding a bouquet of flowers. I brought these for Carol," she stammered. "From my mother and me, from Mom's garden." I looked down at the bouquet. White daisies, pink and purple cosmos, and yellow lilies. Aw, that sounds pretty. I remembered when Sunny and I had helped Mrs. Winslow plant those flowers after she was diagnosed with lung cancer. "Come in," I said. I backed up and Sunny took a few steps into the house. My heart was pounding and my mouth felt dry. Just being near Sunny was making me nervous. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to act. Sunny seemed like a stranger to me. The expression on her face, her posture, the way she was dressed, even the tone of her voice was unfamiliar. "So, like, is Carol here and the baby?" she asked. "No," I said. "They have to stay in the hospital an extra day because of Carol." "What's wrong with her?" Sunny asked with alarm. I told her it was nothing serious, that Carol would be okay, and that she and the baby would be coming home the next day. What I wanted to ask Sunny was what had gone wrong with us. How had best friends become strangers? You went wrong. Dawn. "Hey, well, great," said Sunny. "Tell her I said hi and congratulations." I thought, what do you have to say to me, Sunny? Sunny pulled on her ear the way she does when she's nervous. She looked around. She hadn't looked at me, really looked me in the eye, but I wasn't avoiding eye contact too. But I was avoiding eye contact too. "You could come back tomorrow," I said, "with the flowers, or you could bring them to the hospital. Carol would love to see you." "Okay, I'll do that," said Sunny. She turned and left. I wanted to say, "Wait, don't go, we have to talk," but I didn't have the courage. I stood in the doorway and watched her walk across the lawn. I thought, if she turns around and looks at me, I'll say something. But what? Take the initiative! Ah! "I forgive you. I want to be your friend." "No." "How about Sunny? Do you want to come in for a soda or something?" Or, "How did exams go?" Or, "Do you like working at your father's store?" All lame, but it didn't matter. Sunny didn't turn around. Now, as I'm writing this, I think I should have said, "Did you hear what they named the baby?" Or, "Guess what? They named the baby Elizabeth Grace. She has the same first name as your mother." But maybe that wouldn't have been the right thing to say either. Maybe Sunny and I aren't speaking because we don't know what to say to each other anymore, or maybe we just don't have anything to say to each other anymore. I can't believe I've lost my best friend. I feel like I'm lost. And whose fault is that? Wait to see your mother's photo. I'll share it. Stony Brook can keep you, Dawn. Prisoner, Cell Block H, and the episode I want to direct to is the one with the laughing gas. Is it an anthology show? Kind of like not like, but like in the same setup as like a Beyond Belief, where you can just watch any episode. White jeans were deadly when you had a teacher who didn't allow bathroom breaks. Or if it was that fun time of the month. Not to be dismissive, but like they don't do all that much in the first 2 months. Yeah, true. Yeah, no. The first 2 months are not, it's not like, oh, I'm missing the baby's last year of high school. It's like, no, the baby's gonna be the baby. It's fine. It'll just be a little bit bigger when you come back. I've never worn white jeans. My mom never trusted me to keep those clean, rightfully so. Whitney Houston song, Sonny should sing. But it's okay, I'm gonna make it anyway. Pack your bags up and leave. Don't run it back to me. Sonny needs some breakup songs. Best friend breakup songs. Can't wear my white jeans with my white wears only jacket. You were a little too much. Yourself, Dawn. That's what happened. Okay, I've lost a couple of friendships, but Dawn, you aren't even trying to keep it. Right? Dawn is lost. I say let the wolf and the candy house witch have her. The wolf and the candy house witch. They need to team up to take Dawn down. It is almost midnight. It's 11:46, and we have 17 concurrents right now. Thank you guys for keeping this such a steadily watched stream tonight. 17 is very solid for our community, and I appreciate all of you, old and new alike. Not going to even sit by itself until like 6 months, right? Milo, are you ready for Animorphs tomorrow night? I was having friendship issues, and you know what movie is the best to watch at that time? The Craft. About horror movies that are just weirdly comforting, you know? Saturday evening, 6:20. Elizabeth Grace is home. We've had loads of visitors and presents today. Carol is so thrilled not to be bedridden that Dad and Mrs. Bruin are afraid she's overdoing it. All her friends squeal when they see the baby. It's a good thing Gracie is already used to a noisy household. I'm pretty used to babies from babysitting so much. Really? I had no idea you babysat, Dawn. I know more about taking care of an infant than Carol does. Do you? How do you know that? So I've been helping out. I don't mind, especially now that the school is over. Lots of people besides Dad and Carol say Gracie looks like I did when I was a baby, which means she must look more like Dad's side of the family than Carol's. Whatever. She's here and she's part of my life, but the fact is I'm not going to be here for more than 2 months. Jeff and I fly to the East Coast Monday at 10 in the morning. I better do my laundry and start packing. 9 weeks is a long time to be gone. I told Dad I was going to miss the baby. He said, and we'll miss you, but Gracie will be here when you come home. She's not going anywhere. I wonder if he will miss me now that he has 2 daughters. I think babies take up a lot more love than grown-up daughters. I mean, I don't think it's like, oh, I have more than one of each. It's not like you have a duplicate. Having more than one of the same gender kid isn't like a duplicate. I don't think it's the same thing. It's not like a spare tire. It's a baby. Next book is going to be special. I'm so scared, Milo. I need like a comfort plushie or something for tomorrow. I was thinking about this when Carol came into the kitchen with Gracie on her shoulder. Carol looked at Dad and me, burst out laughing, and whispered, "You have to go to the baby's room. Jeff just hung a present on her wall." Jeff yelled from down the hall, "I hear you laughing, Carol. It's not funny. It's not a funny present." Dad and I ran to the baby's room, and Carol followed at a slower pace with Gracie. On the pale yellow wall was a brightly colored NBA poster of Michael Jordan making a slam dunk. Dad and I exchanged a glance. I covered my mouth so I wouldn't laugh. Dad turned a hoot into a cough. Even so, Jeff could tell that we were all amused by his gift. "It's an excellent poster," Jeff wailed. "I saved my money for it. I sent away for it, and I didn't tell anybody because I wanted it to be a surprise for my baby brother." He gave my father an angry look. "Dad, you said I could treat a sister just the way I treat a brother, that she'd play ball with me and everything, so I'm giving her the poster even though she's not a brother." He finished his speech by mumbling, but I don't think she's ever going to be big enough to do anything. I love my brother. He's an original. Jeff, I said, you did the best thing. It's a great present. And it looks terrific in Gracie's room, said Carol. She looked from Dad to me. It really does. I love all the colors. And Gracie will too. The room was looking a little wimpy, Dad said. Carol held Grace out to Jeff and took her very carefully. He took her very carefully, held her in the crook of his arm, and faced her toward the poster. Gracie, that's Michael Jordan, he said. He's our hero. Gracie raised her little fists and punched the air as if to say, all right, I better pack. Newborns all look the same, not gonna lie. Yep. Hey, poor Jeff. He just wants his baby sister to ball hard. Maybe she will be, right? Maybe she'll be a basketball star and she'll be able to, like, tell that story in, like, speeches and stuff. A drama series and not an anthology series like Beyond Belief is. Okay, cool. Just wondering. They're babies, not like Pokemon. Yeah, it's like leveling up a Pokemon and like getting rid of the weaker ones. It's not like that. Astrid the basketball star. Yay, Astrid! Dawn, a baby can't feed itself. It just needs attention right now. Yeah. Shut up, Dawn, you self-important demonic bitch child. A peek at the and partake in the movie, the TV Rex. Hopefully it's useful. Honestly, I might not be that useful because I'm not very good at recommending current TV, but I could tell you about a lot of Jim Henson specials. Astrid's team won the championships. Good for her. How is future niece or nephew number 3 doing? Okay, Sunday/Monday, midnight. I'm all packed and ready for my summer in Stony Brook. I was putting the last things in my suitcase when I heard a soft cry from Gracie's room. I ran down the hall to check on her. Carol and my dad were trying to sleep between feedings. I wanted to quiet Gracie before she woke them up. I don't like that her cues and my cues are somewhat similar. I don't like having anything somewhat similar in common with Dawn. Gracie before she woke them up. I lifted her out of her crib and sat in the rocker with her cradled in my arms. Did you have a bad dream, little sister? I whispered. It happens, but I'm here. I'll make it better. She stopped crying. I have to go away, but you have a mother and father who adore you. I gently stroked her wisps of soft blonde hair. I'll be back. We're going to have a wonderful time being sisters, I promise you. I felt a hand on my shoulder. It startled me, but I realized it was my father before I screamed. I know he overheard me talking to Gracie, but I don't care. She's so tiny, Dad, I said. He sighed. She's a big responsibility. I can't sleep. I keep waking up to check on her. He reached into his bathrobe pocket and took out a framed picture. I had this made up for you, he said, so you'd have it for Stony Brook. He held the picture near the nightlight so I could see it better. It was a photo Dad had taken of me holding Gracie the day she came home from the hospital. In it, Gracie had on the I'm Here t-shirt. I smiled up at my father. Thanks, Dad. I love that photo, he said. My 2 girls. I framed a copy of it for my office desk, too. And I framed a picture for Jeff, one of him standing with Gracie in front of the Michael Jordan poster. He handed me an envelope. Here are copies of the rest of the pictures from the roll. I figured you would want to show them to your mother and the rest of your Stony Brook family and friends. That's perfect, Dad, I told him. And it was. I said goodnight to my father, kissed my sister, and went back to my room. I'll miss my West Coast room and my house, but I'm beginning to think about my other room, the one on the East Coast. I like that room too. And I have a mother in Stony Brook. I realize I've missed her a lot lately. It'll be so wonderful to wake up in the morning and know my mother is in the same house. I also remember that I have good friends in Stony Brook and another sister and a stepfather whom I've come to like quite a lot. We have a great time together. I'm starting to look forward to tomorrow and the next day and the day after that. It's summertime, time for fun. Everything will be here when I come back. Maybe in the fall, Maggie and I can become better friends. I'll try even harder to understand her. I also want to become better friends with Amalia and Ducky. Does that mean that in the next book, we're not going to have any Dawn to worry about? Gracie Schafer in 20 years. My sports career started when my brother gave me a Michael Jordan poster on the day of my birth. Also, I want all of you guys to know my sister has an amazing business opportunity for you all. No, she wouldn't rep for Dawn. She wouldn't rep for Dawn's business. I have faith in Elizabeth Gracie Schafer Olsen. Oh, Dawn's just going away for 2 months, so that, in theory, Maggie's next book will take place while she's gone, so she'll be at least minimally there. Heck yeah. The hardest person to leave is Sunny. I can see her house from my window. I remember the summer we'd sit near our windows and talk with walkie-talkies. That seems so long ago. Where is that, Sunny? Where is our old friendship? Have I changed too? Unfortunately, Dawn will eventually return. Eventually. You missed her so much that you haven't mentioned her at all, right? She hasn't mentioned Marianne by name once. Like, the whole thing, there's like a whole plot line about like, wow, we're best friends and now we're sisters. And that's just, she's just not talking about her. That's some shit. And hiding her baby bump. Oh. Oh, that's fucked up. I feel an ache in my heart whenever I think of Sunny. We didn't outgrow one another the way you do some friends in certain childhood things, like your training wheels or certain clothes or playing with dolls. I didn't outgrow Sunny. I lost her, and I shouldn't have. Something went terribly wrong with our friendship, and it should not have happened. And there's no end. I just thought I saw Sunny at her window. I waved and waited to see if the curtain would part and her window would fly open. I held my breath. Maybe this was it. Maybe I'd go over to her house and we'd talk through the night until it was time for my flight tomorrow. Maybe she'd even ride to the airport with me. Please, Sunny, I thought. Please wave back. I waved again. Nothing. Maybe she wasn't even there. I could telephone her and say what? Goodbye? And then what? Why doesn't Sunny call me? She knows I'm going away tomorrow. Maybe one night of talking isn't enough to fix what has gone wrong between us. For the first time in my life, I'm going away without saying goodbye to Sunny. I wish with all my heart it wasn't so, but it is. The end. In a playground fight. I'll have to check and see if I have it, and if not, I'll try to hunt it down. But that's it. We read Dawn Diary 2, which, you know what that means? Only one more Dawn Diary in the California Diaries. We did it, guys. Oh my god. We didn't even need you, top-down camera. Oh my goodness gracious. Well, that was something. How's everybody doing? These books are always hard. Is it just me or are they getting sadder? Oh, picture of cookbooks. Let me send that while I'm thinking about it. Where did she send that text to me? So bad for me when I was younger, but I still fought. I tried like Dawn, didn't try it all. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. All right, I'm putting this on the Discord. Oh, it's midnight. Happy Friday, everybody. Oh, I did remember to post that picture of Perry. Bless Perry. I woke up and she was just like sleeping on me, and I was like, bless her. Bless her cat heart. Ooh, I just saw Julia's post about 7-layer guac. Or dips, guac, 7-layer dip. Ooh, so good. All right, where do I put this? Here we go. Two. Oh, nope. Ah, I can't type. Sorry, guys. And to us by, and I'm tagging you. Heads up, you're getting tagged. All right. House sitting for my mom. I was calling her cat into the house, and my mom's neighbors just yelled at me to shut up. Jeez, that sounds awful. Good night, everyone. Read what do you think you find online? I'm not sure since there's an incident involved a spread in Australia called Vegemite. Leonard human torpedo. By the way, I will look into that. Thank you. Sorry to have to miss the wild and crazy world of Animorphs tomorrow. No, save yourself. We'll miss you, but you'll probably save yourself some trauma. I mean, I feel like they keep building up to Mrs. Winslow dying, and it's just going to keep being more of that until what happens. Everyone's first diary was kind of like an intro to their issues, and now we're getting further into the situations. Yeah. Good morning. See you today. Good morning, guys. See you today. It's also a TV show as well. I will look into that. Thank you so much. I will see you guys later. Go get some sleep if you're in an area where it's time for that. And if not, have a good day for those who are still having a day. Bye, guys. I appreciate you. See you later today, I guess. Bye.